Hello, tubers. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. And thank you for coming on and watching Cooper's Thai Adventures. Today is a big one in what's happening in the world. It's affecting everybody, and of course, us here in Thailand too. It's the talk of the planet right now, tariffs. And what's going on? How does it affect those that want to retire in Thailand or those that are already here retired moving forward? What's going to happen? Well, first off, I want to say that it's just me on my own here today. I asked Mr. Brooke Schneider not to come on. I've got a bit of a flu. I've taken some antihistamine medication, and I didn't want to pass it on to Brooke. So I said, stay at home, buddy. I'll take this one tonight by myself. I feel well enough to do it, but I don't want to pass it on to you. So just chill out, sit at home, and I'll handle this one tonight. And we'll see you Monday morning for crypto talk. So what's happening? Well, what's happening? Everybody knows on the planet pretty much is America has instigated what they're calling reciprocal tariffs against the whole planet. Um, and in Thailand, Thailand's getting hit with, I believe it's a 30 something percent uh, tariffs from the US because Thailand has tariffs against America. Well, let's go back in history a little bit, folks. And how did this all start? Okay, tariffs were in place up until World War II. Once World War II happened, America sort of froze tariffs against the planet, Japan and Europe, and said, to allow you to rebuild your countries, we're not going to set tariffs on you. And that went around and all the countries repaired themselves and from the war torn damage caused during the war, and then they started putting tariffs against America and other countries, but America wasn't tariffing them at the same level that they were getting tariffed. So it's like a double-edged sword. And for those that wanted to come out here and live in Thailand and retire out here, you pay taxes on imports as well as tariffs. So it's double if you think about it in that perspective. I know that some YouTube influencers are saying, well, Thailand only has an 8% tariff against the US on average. No way. That may what they be publishing in their online figures, but I can speak from personal experience. Darlene and I went to go on a vacation last year on a cruise. In September last year, we wanted to buy some winter gear. We couldn't buy it in Thailand. The stuff that we wanted, thermal underwear, woolly hats, gloves, thermal socks, mountain boots, ski jackets, all that sort of thing. We couldn't buy it for love or money anywhere in Thailand because Thailand is a summer country. It's close to the equator. So there are no shops that sell this, the quality that we wanted. And so we decided, okay, let's shop for it online. And we went to Amazon. And the bill for the clothes for both me and Darlene was about $1,000 of what we ordered to take on the cruise ship. Well, when we went to the checkout, it came to $1,800. So we were charged the highest rate, 80% import tax, um, for having them shipped to us from America. From Amazon, there was zero tax and the shipping was free. However, Thailand wanted to charge us 80%. So that's what we ended up paying. I have a lot of subscribers that have reached out to me over the last 2 years on our channel saying, "Hey, Cooper, I'd like to import my motorcycle, or I'd like to import my car. I've got a antique car that I love working on. It's a 1960s or 1970s, over 20-year-old car, considered antique. I'd like to work on it and keep it in Thailand. What's the import tax like on that?" Well, that's 300%. If you want to bring a vehicle or a motorcycle into Thailand that's not made here in Thailand, they charge you 300%. So where they're coming up with this 8% figure, I have no idea, but I always like to tell it like it is on the channel. So what's happened since the US government has announced these tariffs on the world? Well, two countries that come to mind in Asia have reached out with the US government straight away. Those two countries are Vietnam and Thailand. Vietnam reached out to America and said, "Hey, whoa, you're going to hit us with 90, I think it was 49% tariff, because Vietnam tariffs US goods at 90%. So I know that I'll probably get in the comments somewhere that, "Hey, wait a minute. Uh, the way the US government worked it out, it's not actually that. They just did the math this way." And we're going to keep out of the technicalities of what actual percentages are. That's not what is important in this topic and conversation. So Vietnam reached out and said, "We want to impose zero tariffs on the US if you'll do the same for us." So, and then Thailand jumped on the bandwagon and said, "Hey, we want to do the same." So I know there's a difference between taxes, import taxes, and tariffs. Okay, I know there's a difference, but they both go hand in hand. They're a tax. Whichever way you look at it, it is a consumer tax. Um, whether you want to call it a tariff or import fee, it is a tax. And these are sort of things that need to be looked at. Thailand exports a hell of a lot of goods to the US. A hell of a lot of goods are made here. For the automotive industry, there's many manufacturing plants in Bangkok, and up and down the length of Thailand, that they import worldwide. And one of their biggest export markets is the US. So, what would that mean to retirees? Well, let's start with a bit of good news. Bit of good news is I checked on my currency exchange app this morning, and the dollar has strengthened in value against the Thai baht. It is now 34 and a half baht to the US dollar. So approximately 2-3 weeks ago, it was at under 33 and a half. Now, 3 weeks later, the announcement of the tariffs, the dollar's gotten stronger, which means you get more Thai baht for your US dollar here in Thailand. Moving forward, if they are able to come up with an agreement between Thailand and the US, then what will happen is prices will come down for expats here in Thailand. For example, we like going shopping at American supermarket here, slash European supermarket. And it's called Villa Market. We go there regularly, a couple times a month, and buy, some of the luxury items that we like. And those are predominantly a lot more expensive than what they are in the West. So those prices we would see come down. So in my opinion, it's a plus for us here as retirees. I know for those expats, those Americans that are at home, you're going to be feeling it in the wallet on the opposite side of things, because everything's going to go up in price. But for those that want to get out of the matrix, get out of the US, get out of Europe, get out of Australia, Canada, whatever, you're going to find your money goes a lot further here in Thailand. And that's today's subject. Get your comments in, get your questions in. I'll do my best to answer them. Without further ado, let's get started and see who's on the live stream. Julie Perkins starts it off, says, "Good evening, everyone, from Adrian and Julie in Bangsaray. And good evening to you both, Julie and Adrian. Thank you for coming on and joining us." J.E. Washington says, "Good morning, CBD from rainy Tennessee. Well, good morning to you, JE. I know you're not long out until you get over here, and it's going to be a pleasure to finally meet you in person, brother. Scott S says, good evening, CBD, and everyone online. From Scott, currently in Vietnam. Oh, wow, you're over in Vietnam, Scott. How you enjoying it over there? Where you at? You over in Ho Chi Minh City? You up in Da Nang, up further north? Let us know in the comments. Sylv Khan says, hello, YouTubers and Cooper's gang. Hello, Sylv. Thank you for coming on and joining us. Frank T says, if these tariffs persist for a while, life in USA will be much more costly. Yes. Not sure how much more Americans can take. I think it's a leverage play to Frank to try and balance the playing field. Now, America's partly to blame for this. Well, predominantly to blame for this, if I'm 100% honest, because what we did is we outsourced um, manufacturing to cheaper countries so we could buy our sneakers cheaper, our cars cheaper. They were made in Canada and Mexico. So at the end of the day, they were made by workers that were working for $10 an hour on the assembly line rather than workers in the US that were making 30, 40, 50 plus dollars on the assembly line. And hence why Detroit is no longer the modal capital of the US anymore. Well, the new administration said they want to bring manufacturing back to the US. So hit everybody with tariffs, and hopefully these companies will come back to the US. I don't know whether that's going to happen or not, Frank. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't see what's going to happen in the next 3 to 6 months. But yeah, it's definitely going to hit Americans in America in their wallet. Actually, it's going to hit the whole population of the planet. The U.S. government has said we're doing it worldwide. Everybody's getting tariffs. So I feel for those that are over in the U.S. and over in the West. And I wish everybody could be here in Thailand enjoying the good life and seeing their money go a lot further, because this is where you're going to see the benefits the most of the tariffs is over here. Because the dollar is a lot stronger now. The pound is stronger. The Australian dollar, the Canadian dollar, the euro, all of them went up in the last 24 hours. So it's a plus, plus, plus for those that are already out here. Terry Fallon, who's a channel member and has the badge next to his name. Thank you very much. Terry says, good morning, CBD, from a rainy Bancroft, Ontario. Well, at least it's not snowing, Terry. Look at the bright side, buddy. Heath McDaniel says, good evening from Southeast Tennessee. Finally in the 80s this week. Wow. I know you've been waiting for that weather for a long time there, Heath. Phil T says, good evening, Cooper and Darlene. Yes, good evening to you too, Phil. Darlene is in the back room there, our channel moderator. She doesn't like coming on the camera too much nowadays. She prefers to be behind the scenes and keeping all the bad people out of the chat. What's Duke doing these days? Says, good morning from Wahin. Just received my shipping container from Canada. Went smooth as butter. Total cost about $10,000. Sorry, Duke, is that what it cost? Was there any import tax on that? Let us know, by the way. Or was that the cost from the total to have your item shipped from Canada to Thailand? Nomad Jack, who's also a channel member, has the badge next to his name. Thank you, sir. Says, hi, Coop Troop. Hello, Jack. Thank you for coming on and joining us. He says, good afternoon, Coop from the Philippines. Moving there on 19th. Can't wait. Oh, that's not long. That's not long. You're only 2 weeks away, a little under two. What is today's date? Today is the 5th. Yeah, so you're exactly 2 weeks from today. See you soon, Jack. Jim says, hey, Coop, great to see you and Sean back together again. Did you enjoy the couple of videos that we made? Yeah, we made 2 videos together, and he's eager to shoot some more with us. So we'll probably meet up in the next couple of days and film some more. W says, hi from Queens, New York. The drop, especially Friday in the Dow and S&P, yes, I know about that, was more than anyone expected, including me. I didn't even expect that big a drop. I was thinking, 2%, and it was a lot more than that. People will hold back on retirement and purchasing. In the West, yes, of course, I can see that 100%. But for those that are looking to get out the West, looking to have their dollar go further, Thailand is looking pretty rosy right now, from what I can see. The dollar is strengthened over here. You're getting more baht for your dollar, which is always a good thing. So, and with the tariffs now in negotiation, the Thai prime minister, she said, we are reached out to America and we want to negotiate. So I think that's a good thing for expats all around that want to come out here to retire in Thailand, because it'll bring down the prices of things out here that we like. Maybe in the future, there may be just a standalone tax. Say, for example, you want to bring your car or your camper van or your motorbike over, there may be just a standard tax of 25% to bring it into the country, rather than this ridiculous 300% right now. You know, I think that's extortionate. It really is. Um, yeah, I'd love to be able to have an Escalade over here, but I'm not paying, 4 times the asking price. I'm not going to pay $400,000 for an Escalade in Thailand because they want to charge me 300% on top of what I paid for it. So if I wanted the top of the range Escalade with all the bells and whistles on it, I'm looking about 100,000 US, base range about 80,000. By the time I've got it over here and paid the taxes and the fees, I'm looking somewhere between $300,000 to $400,000 for the same Escalade. No, I'm not going to pay it. No way, no how. So these are things that I'm hoping are going to be part of the negotiations uh, when and if they take place. Okay, hang on. Got a message here. And my wife says, thanks, Brooke and Travis, for me for lending the wives taking care of me. I know Travis and Rizel watch the live stream regularly, and it's Rizel's birthday. And happy birthday to Rizel. Yeah, Darlene fell a little bit ill and was in the hospital for a couple of days. She just got released today and had stomach problems. They put her on a IV of antibiotics, and she's back to her cheerful self. And the girls went over and stayed with Darlene while she was in the hospital. So much appreciated. Thank you guys for lending your wives to help Darlene out, so she's not alone in the hospital. Nomad Jack, who's a channel member, has a badge next to his name. Thank you very much. Says, I think we'll do well from the tariffs lasting maybe 2 weeks. I think they're going to be short lived, Jack. I do. I think they can't go on more than 2 months. That's my maximum case scenario of how long I think they'll go on for. It's going to hurt countries all around the world, especially China. China is going to get hit really hard with this, even though I know they said, right, we're going to tax the US at 34% now. I think that's just them, stepping up and saying, hey, we're just as tough as you are. But it's going to hurt them a hell of a lot more. A lot of goods that China ships out, it's primarily to America. They're their number one trade partner. So I think that there's going to have to be talks quick and fast, and a lot of people, countries and prime ministers and presidents are reaching out right now to the U.S. saying, hey, let's sit down and talk. We can't, this is going to hurt us a lot. And also America, everywhere is going to hurt with these tariffs. JD Shemp says they're all folding like a deck of cards. Everybody is. I saw on the news today, there's a lot of senators that are, in the U.S. They're saying, hey, we can't handle this for long. If you don't resolve this quickly, then we may have to vote against you and put a freeze to these tariffs. The stock market took a huge dump all around the world. All stock markets were down on Friday. So yeah, this is going to have to be sorted out fairly quickly, I think. And W says yesterday was interesting because right away the president went after the Fed chairman on True Social that he isn't cutting interest rates. With the prospect of rising inflation, they may not do now. Well, the next Fed meeting is in May, W. And I think Jerome Powell's not going to have a choice. He's going to have to cut it because tariffs cause inflation. It's economics 101. You raise tariffs, you raise inflation. So the Fed is going to have to cut rates to lower inflation. So I think personally, in balance of things, they're going to have to do probably 3 or 4 rate cuts this year and bring it down by a whole basis point is what I'm thinking. Fred Quinn says, morning, Cooper and Darlene, 6 a.m. in Las Vegas. I appreciate you and your channel. Thank you, Fred. Much appreciated. I appreciate you too. And thank you for coming on and joining us as always. What's Duke doing these days? Says, hopefully the taxes on imported cars comes down on something reasonable. Yeah, I would say a 25% tariff would be a reasonable amount. That would not hurt the Thai economy for those that those people that work in the car industry here in Bangkok and the surrounding areas. I think a 25% tariff, not too many people are going to be bringing over cars. I mean, I can't see all of a sudden, overnight, we got 1,000,000 Lamborghinis on the streets of Thailand. Nobody's, not a lot of people have got that kind of money to afford it. But, for expats that want to retire, maybe they can bring something in along the lines of, okay, if you want to retire in Thailand, we'll give you so much value of something that you can bring to Thailand. For example, your furniture, your clothes, your personal belongings. If you're in model railways and stuff like that, model cars, you can bring them all over up to a certain value, and then we charge you tax on top of that. And if you want to bring your own vehicle over, then we'll charge you 25%, but it's a one-time offer. You can't ship 3, 4 vehicles over or something like that. I think would be very, very reasonable. Philippines does something similar. I think it's up to the value of $5,000 or $10,000 once you get a retirement visa in the Philippines that they allow you to bring over tax-free. Heath McDaniel says, yes, love to bring a 1967 Suzuki 250 motorcycle with, but shipping and import tax will be way too much. And I agree with you. I had a really old Harley that I absolutely loved to death, and it broke my heart to get rid of it. And it was a 1964 Panhead is what I had. And I love that bike. I really did. There you go, Mr. Brooke Schneider. He's come on to say hello. Says, as Powell stated early on, inflation is only transitory. Yeah, we'll see how that goes, Brooke, huh? British Knight says, good afternoon, CBD from sunny England. And hello, British Knight. I remember you from coming over to say hello at Route 66, where we had a fantastic American breakfast together. Frank T says, glad that U.S. tariff has not been a negative effect on U.S. expats in Thailand. No, it hasn't. For most things, it's been a positive, which is a bit of a shock. I was expecting it to have an adverse effect. Wasn't expecting to wake up to see what actual effect it's having. Most expats are on a fixed budget. Yes, a lot of us are on fixed budgets. I'm on a fixed budget. I have to watch every penny I spend, and I have to keep within the lines, and and I have a certain amount that I budget for every month. But with the dollar now strengthened against the baht because of the tariffs and gone up one whole baht, that makes a huge difference. When you say transferring over 1,000 US dollars, well, you're getting 1,000 extra baht there, for it, which is an extra $30 is the way I look at it. British Knight says we pay Farang prices in Thailand and gringo prices in South America. Yeah, we got skin tax in Asia. Even in the Philippines, there's skin tax. We've been over to Malaysia, there's skin tax there too. I just get Darlene to go up and ask them, to the markets, and they're like, "Oh, she's from the Philippines, another Asian country. Okay, we'll give her the same discount as the Thais." I never go up in the markets and ask for them. What's Duke doing these days says the sad part is Americans don't get to buy cheaper products after exporting manufacturing. The companies like Nike and Apple just made fatter margins. Well, they're gonna. You think Nike and Apple? Their stocks went way down on both of them on Friday at close of market. Both of them were well down. The only stocks that weren't down was Bitcoin. So Bitcoin made a nice recovery there. It did make a dip at the start of the announcements of the tariffs, but then came back up. But everybody else straight down. Even gold was down remarkably. So it's left its all-time high now. But yeah, I don't know how they're gonna do it. I don't know. Where's Nike made? I think they're made in Vietnam, aren't they? Which is one of the ones with the highest tariffs so far. Apple, another one, that's going to get hit by tariffs. The one good thing I can say about Thailand in that respect is they have a thing called My Asia, which is that you can buy from other Asian countries in the area that are part of My Asia, and you pay next to nothing on top of it. So only the shipping fees, which is absolutely brilliant. R says, "Hello, Cooper and Darlene." Hello, R. I saw you today. I bet you wondered, you saw me? Yes, I saw you. I was watching Calvin's live stream from the US, and I saw one of your comments in there. I like watching him. He's a good friend of mine. I try and support his channel as much as possible. Scott S says, I started in Da Nang, then Hanoi. Okay. Then Dong Hoi. Now back in Da Nang, caught a cold in Hanoi, doing a Jeep tour in the countryside. Back to the land of smiles on Monday, then off to Hua Hin to look for a house. Well done, Scotty. You're enjoying the good life, buddy. Yeah, I've only been to Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam, but I'd really like to go up north and see Da Nang. I heard it's absolutely fantastic for expats up there. Greg McGinnis says manufacturing jobs are not going to come back to the US. I mean, does he think warehousing are going to build in a week? No. And anybody that thinks that would be screw loose. It's not going to happen overnight. No. I can't see it. How long would it take? Well, a lot of the factories that closed down maybe might need some moderation and stuff like that. Maybe 6 months, a year at the outset, um, to get some of these companies to come back. But I think if they're going to negotiate over these tariffs, Greg, I think these big companies are just like, okay, we'll let the governments deal with this because this is going to hurt their foreign workers, and foreign countries where the factories are. Because if Americans aren't buying the goods because they're more expensive than locally availed goods, then the companies are going to have to start laying off staff. They can't keep people employed making things if there's not buyers for them. It doesn't make economic sense. So I think they're just going to sit back and say, we'll let the governments handle it. And we'll just take a hit for a couple of weeks and this will all blow over. That's what I think is going to happen. Let me know you guys' thoughts. Do you guys think that manufacturers are going to come back to the U.S.? I don't know. I don't know. Is my thoughts. Sandra says, "Good morning, everyone. I'm so looking forward to moving to Thailand from Tampa, Florida." Oh wow, Tampa, Florida. Oh yeah, we've got a couple subscribers from there. It'd be great to have you join us, Sandra. Um, you're gonna love Thailand when you get here. If you've never been before, it's a big eye opener. Those that have come out here and said absolutely love it. Of the 2 years we've been going on the channel, I think we've only had 4 people that said Thailand's not for us, of the several thousand that have come out here and met us in person. And those 4 people, one had asthma, bad asthma, so it wasn't for him. Another one was from a Nordic country and said it's too hot in Thailand for me. But for you in Tampa, Florida, this is your weather all year round, and you will really, really enjoy it. Frank T says, by the way, how was your final dental implant checkup? All go and done. I went in yesterday, Frank, and they basically took these teeth out and did a mold for my final teeth. So these ones are just ceramic, but my final ones are going to be made of zirconia. And it takes about a month's process. So my final process will be on the first week of May. I'll have them all done. That's it. I'll be finished, and then Darlene's next. Tim P, channel member, a badge next to his name. Thank you. Tim says, good morning, evening, Cooper and Darlene. Greetings from Edmonton, Alberta. I hope all is well your way. It is, and it's looking pretty good. It's a bleak outlook for the whole planet, I think, unfortunately. But in Thailand, it's looking a bit better against the odds. I never expected this. To be honest, I never thought that it was going to be as good as this because, tariffs are a scary thing. It scares the stock markets all around the world. But it's, for some unknown reason, it's made the dollar a lot stronger against the baht and other currencies. So finger crossed it stays that way for a while. R says, every now and then I will look at the price of airfare. I have never seen such a price jump as I did when I looked on Friday. Wow. God, I hate him. There is no plan but to. You can only trust a liar to lie. Yeah. Airfare's gone up too. I don't know why airfare's gone up because it doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, are they jumping on the bandwagon? Because the fuel for the airlines is made in the States. You're in the States, brother. So why would the airfare automatically go up? It makes no sense to me. Did the airline crew all of a sudden get a 200% pay rise? No. Has the price of gasoline gone up? Has the price for aviation fuel gone up in the US? No. If anything, all the prices are tanking across the stock market. So where is the justification for raising the airfare prices? I don't know. I don't know. And that's something I would hope that the airline watchdog gets involved in. Where they say that the consumer index prices have to stay at a certain level. For things like that, for transportation. That they can't just unjustly raise the prices all of a sudden. They have watchdogs and auditors and all that for things like that. I think it's only a short move for the airlines doing that. I think they're going to have to lower the prices very soon. I can't see that staying for too long at all. I think there's going to be absolute outrage at that. Duke says, no import tax because my shipping agent gave me some coffee money. Oh, wow, nice. So none of my stuff got inspected. The 7 computers and 3 super ultra wide monitors would have dinged me a bit. Yeah. If they're secondhand, Duke, and they're more than a year old, I'm 70% certain on this. Thailand's got a loophole where there's no import tax on it. For electronics and furnishings. So I'll double check on that, but I'm 70% certain that if it's more than a year old, that there's no import tax on electronics and furnishings. Providing it's your own personal possessions, of course. Duke says 10,000 total, 7,000 for local Canadian mover, 3,000 for Thai shipping company. Well done. So you got the old door-to-door service. We did that when we left Kuwait and we went to the Philippines. They came, picked it up at our house, packed everything up, shipped it over to the Philippines, and then it was picked up at the port when it arrived there and brought straight to our door. So excellent service. Well done. I hope you brought a lot more than just a couple of monitors for your 7 computers for $10,000. Wow, that's expensive. Um, Valetta's World says based on the auto industry owners, they stated it would be cheaper for to automate jobs. This will not bring back jobs. Remember, automation has taken over all types of jobs online to manufacture. Yeah. And you think when these futuristic AI robots come out, Valletta, they're going to be doing a lot of the menial jobs, that we would do. The world's changing. The world is changing rapidly. I didn't think I was going to see it in my lifetime. I remember watching the Jetsons when I was a kid, thinking, "Oh yeah, that's 300 years away from us." It looks like it's happening a hell of a lot quicker. So yeah, I do agree with there. Those that are in high school now, they need to seriously think about what they want to do in college to get jobs in the future. And robotics and AI might be a good opportunity for those. Frank T says, since the Thai police is cracking down on Airbnb, yes, they are. If I plan to stay at Dusit Grand Part 2 for 6 weeks, you'll have no problem. It's more than a month. Do I ask the landlord to provide a TM30 saying I'm staying for 6 weeks? No, your TM30 doesn't state how long you're staying, Frank. Your TM30 is just where you're living. It's a rectangular piece of paper stamped in your stapled into your passport with your name and address on it. And yes, your landlord is required to do it, or if you're going through an agent, they are required to do it. But don't always trust that they will do it. If they don't, get the paperwork for the property and go down and do it yourself. It's free. It doesn't cost anything for a TM30. The immigration doesn't charge for it. But no, 6 weeks, you'll have absolutely no problem. The law states you must stay, if you're going to stay in a condominium here in Thailand, it has to be a minimum of 30 days. So 6 weeks, you're good to go. Mamie Taylor says, good morning, Cooper from Memphis, Tennessee. Thank you for the great information. I am planning to go over there in a year or so. Thank you. And you're very welcome, Mamie. I will always tell the good and the bad on this channel. I don't really care for, sugarcoating anything. I want to tell you guys how it is. If something's bad happening over here, I'm going to tell you. If something's good's happening over here, I'm going to tell you that too. And the biggest topic this week is the tariffs, that are happening worldwide. And I woke up and I found it completely different. I was expecting prices to go through the roof over here. I was expecting the dollar to fall big time against the baht, maybe drop down as low as 30 or below. Um, and the complete opposite has actually happened. So I had to come on and tell you, and if you don't believe me, go on and look right now, do a Google search and see $1 to Thai baht, and I'll actually do it for you. I've got the app here, the dollar, the currency app, and $1 is 34 baht 0.389, and I'll show you right there. Apologize for the glare, and that's the other currencies as well. But yeah, $1 down the bottom is now 34.389. When I woke up this morning, it was 34.54. So absolutely great there. The weekends, it tends to die a bit and goes back up on Monday. Roger White says, I've been listening to you for a few months now. I would love to, but it's a little frightening to move to another country. Of course it is, Roger. It's, if you've never been to Thailand, yeah, it is a bit frightening. Hence why we started this YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel is not so much an entertainment channel. It's more along the lines of bringing people together, helping people meet and become friends. Hence why we created the Facebook group, which is down in the banner below. Your only requirement to join it is be a YouTube subscriber to our YouTube channel, which is free, doesn't cost you a penny. And it doesn't cost you a penny to join our Facebook group, where we have over 1,800 members on there now. And of those 1,800 members, we have over 350 that are living here in Thailand. boots on the ground experience, and you're going to make a lot of friends. That's why we started this channel. We have monthly get-togethers, weekly get-togethers, and we're having a blast, and make it a little bit easier for those that want to escape the West and get out to the East and have their retirement in an enjoyable fashion at prices they can afford to retire at. Not have to work up until the day you die, and hence why we started this channel. So you'd be more than welcome to join the Facebook group, Roger, and speak to the people on there. They're very helpful and very polite. Or do you really want an Escalade to drive in Thailand? Laughing out loud. Escalade's my favorite car. Or I know a lot of people out there. Oh, I would rather have a Porsche, Lamborghini, Ferrari, Aston Martin, whatever. Sports cars ain't my thing. When I was in my 30s, yeah, I'm more, of a kickback and cruise sort of guy. Hence why I bought my Everest. It's the biggest car I could find here. But no, I do love the Escalades. I love the style of them. I love the rims. I love the spinners. They were just super cool. And I always wanted to own one. Probably too big for Thailand if I'm realistic. But hey, us guys, we can dream, right? Tim P says Trump only hit us with 10% tariffs. He realizes how much he needs Alberta, synthetic crude oil. I think that's because Alberta has a 10% tariff against the US, so he's sort of matched it. Well, so I think that's actually a good thing. England also got hit with the 10% tariff. And I believe he's frozen Canada and New Mexico's tariffs there. White Lime says it's much, much, much cheaper to disassemble a car and import it as parts to rebuild in Thailand. Yeah, but here's the problem. You can't get insurance for it and you can't register it. So as soon as you get caught by the police because there's no tags on it, you get done. So people have tried that, haven't succeeded. Terry Fallon's channel member got the badge next to his name. Thank you, Terry. He says the whales are going to make a killing when he removes the tariffs. For Bitcoin, I hope he does. I really do. I think Bitcoin would go through the roof if he removed the tariffs on crypto. DK says no one is coming to Thailand right now. Well, probably because they can't afford it out in the West, DK. But if they can't afford it to sell up and move out, now would probably be one of the best times to do it. And our first shout out goes to Scotty Richmond, bought 3 coffees. He says, to clarify, you said that if I ship a crate of my musical instruments, oh, hang on, I've only got, this is a long one. Sorry, guys. He says, to clarify, you said if I ship a crate of my musical instruments, which are over 10 years old, should not have to pay an import tax. Thanks for everything. If they are considered antiques, there is a ruling. I'd have to speak to a friend of mine that's done it. He'll let me know. Ask me again, give me till next Saturday and I'll get the definitive answer. I'm 70% sure there's a loophole in there that you should be okay. But let me get it. I don't want to say definitely and then you say, hey, Cooper, you told me wrong. I'm not one of those sort of persons. So I'm sort of 70% sure. Let me find out that loophole. I'll speak to Singh about it. He's the one to know. If you got Singh's details, you can message him too. But he's the one that knows, as he knows several people that have imported stuff from foreign countries to retire in Thailand. And he's also got a friend that works at the customs at the port. So friends always help, don't they? Brooke Schneider says if markets tank further next week, Fed will lower rates quickly. And I agree with you 100%, Brooke. 1,000% I agree with you. Powell's not going to have a choice. If he wants to, unless he wants the inflation to go through the roof, and then his career is pretty much over with and sown, a lot of people are going to be wanting him out. He's not going to have a choice next month in May, during the next Fed meeting, he's going to have to step up his A game and l- lower interest rates. Otherwise, Powell will wait and see. Hmm. Yeah, I think he'll be a gone man. Harry Campbell says, "Good evening, Cooper. It is so good to know that Darlene is doing well. She is, Harry. Yeah, she had a bit of a stomach problem when we got back from the cruise ship. I had the flu. Several people on the ship got the flu, by the way. I didn't get it till a day or two after. I guess I got a stronger immune system. My sister got it bad on the ship. She was in her cabin for 2 days, bunkered down in bed. She got the flu. But no, Darlene's a tough girl, and she's doing great. Thank you, Harry. Tell Terry Fallon. Hello, Brooke. JD Shemp, I would like to bring over my 2017 Harley Night Rod Special. Ooh, nice bike. I'd love to see it. Hopefully, they'll change the rules in regards to that. Roger Moore says protectionism, sanctions, tariffs never work. Um, I'm hoping this time they kind of do. It would help us expat retirees here. Um, I think that if he would have done it against, like half a dozen countries, that it probably wouldn't have worked. But doing it against the whole planet, and who do they all import from to, export to? America. We'll buy anything in America if it's cheap. I mean, shoot, us expats here in Thailand, we'll buy anything here that's cheap too. Everybody wants to save a buck here and there. So I'm hoping that this doesn't last long. Couple weeks to month, 2 months maximum. Any more than that, we're looking at a recession, folks. We really are. I can't see any way around that. Tim P says, "Good to hear Darlene is home and feeling better. All the best for her full recovery. She is doing well now." Thank you, Tim. Andrea says, "Hello, Mr. Cooper. I'm watching you quite a while, and you are smart. But why is Thailand so great when a Farang is always treated second class? I pay also skin tax in Kenya, but I am a big fan of Dubai. I've been to Dubai many times, and there's skin taxes there too. I lived in Kuwait. Tell you a true story, Andreas. I went to a local bazaar, okay, and I needed an ink cartridge for my printer. And the Indian worker in there asked me for 30 KD. How much was that? That was $100. Well, the ink cartridges were only $15, but he wouldn't take less than 100 from me. Okay. I then went out to the car. I said, Darlene, I said, give it 10 minutes, go in there and go buy that ink cartridge for me. She went in there to that exact shop, got it for the $15, $20 that it was. I went back in there and I said, you just sold that cartridge to her for $15, $20, whatever it was, but you want 100 from me. He says, yeah. I said, okay, I'll take another one there for the same price you charge her. No, $100. They wouldn't lower it. It was skin tax. You're a foreigner. You can pay more. So, there's sort of skin tax wherever you go, brother. The rule I learned is get one of the locals to get it for you. Buy him a coffee. They'll be more than happy. Craig Mitchum says the con man Trump has made everyone in the world want to boycott American goods and services. I don't know. Um, my opinion of Trump, everybody sort of knows that. I don't particularly like the guy. But he is the president of the USA, and you have to respect the position of the president. Um, I hope that what he's doing is going to turn out to work. I would hate for it to hurt the world. Um, and if it does turn out real bad, believe me, I could think they're going to impeach him fairly quick, and there'll be a lot of Republicans wanting to get him out as well. So I hope that he's certain what he's doing is right, Craig. And that's all I can say on that. Andreas, Dubai is equal opportunities and a fantastic place to live. Not if you're a white guy. No, they will hit you with skin tax. I've been to Dubai many, many, many times. I lived, next country over Kuwait, the other side of Saudi. And all of the Emirates community, if you're a white guy, you're, from the West, they're going to hit you with skin tax. I don't care. They do it. And there's no way around it. What's Duke doing these days? Says Nike shoes cost a few dollars to make, sells to consumers at $100 to $300. That is what I mean. That exporting U.S. manufacturing benefits the rich, globalist shareholders, and not the average consumers. Yeah. And then how much does it cost to ship them over in one of those big diesel tankers, container ships? Halfway across the planet, the other side of the planet. Those suckers ain't cheap. They're spewing 1,000 gallons of diesel a day to get across the ocean. The Pacific Ocean, is a big ocean. So that's where part of your costs are right there. If they were made in the, a lot closer to USA, say Mexico, for example, they ain't got that far to travel. I bet they'd be a lot cheaper than 100 or 300. Roger Moore says these tariffs are a call to go against BRICS, but the farm gate was left open and the horses have bolted. BRICS have already won. Mm, that is debatable. I'll say that at best, Roger. I understand what the BRICS is doing. They're trying to move away from the US dollar. The US dollar is actually overvalued by a long shot. I know Americans won't look at it that way, but when you come over to the East and you see how far a US dollar goes versus how much the local currency goes, you'll be like, oh, wow, the dollar is pretty strong. Um, as far as the BRICS nations are concerned, I would love it if the BRICS nations turned around and said, right, we're going to trade in cryptocurrencies. There you go. Get rid of the dollar dominance instantly. And those that are in crypto make a lot of money. Digital money, the way of the future. That's the way I'm thinking. Duke says gold was sold off last week because people needed the cash to cover their leveraged long positions from liquidation. And where did that gold money go? Went straight into Bitcoin. The exact same percentage that gold went down, Bitcoin went up. Coincidence? I can only think of one country that the government desires to be an isolationist, and that is North Korea. The people keep thinking that he has a plan. Let me know when I was right about what I said. Who knows? North Korea, the Hermit Kingdom, has always wanted to be on their own. That's how their president keeps control of the people. He can do whatever he wants with no outside influence whatsoever, and it's wrong. It's wrong. It is what he is, and now he's got the nuclear weapon. Nobody's going to tell him any different. Not even Trump. He can't even tell him any different. Russia, China, they don't listen to anybody in North Korea. They just do their own damn thing. I agree with you on that one, R. Richard Woolley, are we not overlooking the administration? Have talked about weakening the dollar to help us export more. That would be a good thing if they weaken the dollar and then raise the minimum wage. That way, more Americans are happier. They got more money. Prices are cheaper. Win, win, win. Um, would that not affect negatively on a fixed income, or have I got it the wrong way around? Um, Only time will tell, Richard. Nobody knows right now how that would pan out, and I'm not going to make an educated guess on that one. It could have a negative income. It could have a positive income. If you devalue the dollar and raise the minimum wage, well, more people, things are going to cost less, and you're going to have more in your pocket at the end of the day. Valetta's World, airlines will go up because of parts. What, parts for the airplanes? Boeing? Made in the USA. That's where the parts are made, Boeing. Robert MacMedia, Cooper, hello. Hello, Robert. Scott Richmond, Hyundai has invested in a new car plant in Georgia and a steel plant in Louisiana. There you go. There's one car company coming over. I'd like to see a lot more. I'd like to see American car companies come to Thailand. That's what I would love to see. I'd like to see Cadillac over here. you know, I'd love to see the Ford F-150 pickup truck over here. Yeah, Thailand's roads, I don't know if they're made for the big vehicles, but it'd still be nice to have them. The option to buy them if you wanted to. I'd love to see Dodge over here. And Dodge Ram pickups are fantastic trucks. I love them. Tim P says, I love the 10% tariff Trump imposed on Heard Island and Antarctica. Yeah, nobody lives there. I'm not sure how he's going to do the penguin inhabitants to pay up. Yeah, I heard about that and I laughed my ass off. I thought that was hilarious. Yeah. I wonder what tariffs Antarctica charges the US. The 7 computers cost more than the 10,000 to ship it here. Wow. Okay, I'd love to see your computer setup, Duke. You have to let me check that out one day. The fuel for airplanes is under short-term contract. He's trying to get rid of the FTC. So there are no more watchdogs, sir, to keep price going in check. I don't think he's got that much power. I think we're giving Trump too much credit. I don't think he's got that much power. For him to do something like that, it's going to take an act of Congress, and I can't see Congress doing it. No way. There was too many Republicans that would vote for Democrats on that for a start. I think he's wishful thinking, but I think he's overstepping the mark. Congress tomorrow could on Monday could vote to overturn his tariffs. They could put a freeze on it tomorrow if they wanted to. So no, for him to get rid of the FTC, I think he would. No, he can't do it. He can't do it on his own. There'll be lawsuits all over the place. No, it would last only for the length of him signing the executive order, and then it'd be out the window within 24 hours. Scott Richmond, the Buy Me a Coffee banner is not showing today. No, it's not, Scotty. When I do live streams on my own, it doesn't show up. Only it's designed in the program that you have the 2 screens set up for the Buy Me a Coffees. So no Buy Me a Coffees today on there. Sorry for that. But thank you anyway, Scotty, because you did actually buy me 3 coffees. Much appreciated. Duke says at the market keeps price gouging in check. The less government intervention, the better. Running to daddy government to solve everything is what has gotten the world in a mess that we have now. Yeah, exactly. This is going to blow over, folks. It's going to be a short-term thing. I think it's going to last the maximum of a couple weeks to a month. It's going to have to blow over. The whole planet's going to go into recession. So that's hang on, my channel moderator's here, and there you go. You fixed it. You put the round banner. Okay, that works. Now where was I? Okay, there you go. The Buy Me a Coffee logo is there. Yeah. So moving on along, Lost Boy channel member badge next to his name. Thank you, brother. Much appreciated. It said, greeting from Deerfield Beach, Florida. I can't wait to be back in Thailand next week. Great to have you back, Lost Boy. Fantastic. Can't wait to have you back out here again. Steve Dye says, Coop, did I hear you correctly? The Fed raises interest rates to fight inflation and lowers rates to help employment. No, the Fed lowers the interest rates to fight inflation. So when the inflation is going up, they have to lower rates. So when they lower the rates, then it sort of counteracts the inflation. When inflation is low, they raise the rates to tie it in what they like at their 2 to 3% inflation level per annum. So that's the way the Fed plays the rule book, is they try and keep inflation around the 2 to 3% level, so it doesn't go out of control. Pete, I was like you. I was worried about the Canadian dollar and the US dollar now living here at the Grand, but it's looking okay now. I can spend all my extra money on casino cruises, just like me, Pete. Yes. Yeah. It's amazing. I couldn't believe it. I woke up this morning. I was like, what the heck? You know, I was expecting to see, the dollar drop fundamentally against the Thai baht, and it went the other way around. It's sprung up, and the Thai baht is looking pretty good for expats from all of you know Western countries that want to come over to Thailand right now for a holiday or for retirement. It's actually looking very, very good right now. So 34 and a half baht to the dollar, that's great, because it used to be that they tied the Thai baht to the dollar exactly 30 baht to the dollar. That's what it used to be. Well, since COVID, that's put a kibosh on all of that, and we're seeing a lot better rates. So, fantastic for those of us that are here, boots on ground, and want to come here. R says that, Andreas, because you're not treated as a second class citizen, I think of it as more of allowing Thais to afford to do stuff that they want to do. Yeah. Um, I don't mind, when we go to sort of parks and there's a charge, admission charge to go in, that the Thais pay less than us. They earn a heck of a lot less than us. And, if there's a 20 baht charge for a Thai to go into a national park, and there's a 100 baht charge for us $3, it's not the end of the world. And I don't begrudge paying it, or I never have. If the money that I'm giving is helping the groundskeepers keep up the grounds, keeping it beautiful, keeping it clean, keeping it contaminant free, and Mother Nature the way Mother Nature's intended. I love it. I do. We've been to amusement parks and stuff like that. There's a different charge for foreigners than there is for Thais. But you got to think Thais are generally, at 10,000 baht a month, if that's what they're making. That's under $300 a US a month. That's 280 something dollars at today's exchange rate. That's not a lot compared to what we make out in the West. And so though that way I sort of consider it as a tip. I tip regularly 100 baht when we go out for a meal. So to me, that's normal. Mark Schaefer's channel member, got the badge next to his name. Thank you very much. Says, hello, Cooper and Darlene. I would like to get Brooke take on the tariffs. Okay, he'll be on here on Monday, and he may actually respond to you in the chat. He's actually watching the live stream right now. So, Brooke, there you go from Mark Schaefer. He wants to get your take on the tariffs. But he did say earlier in the chat there, Mark, that he thinks it's going to be very short-lived. Steve Dice says, Coop, those new teeth look great. Thank you, Steve. Much appreciated. Still uncomfortable in my mouth. I'll be glad when I get the permanent ones in, because they don't have that sort of flap at the bottom and up at the top on the roof and the bottom of your mouth. I don't like it. Be glad when that's gone. And get rid of this lisp finally. Dennis L says, please tell the missus we said feel better. Thank you, Dennis. Love you guys. We wanted you to decompress from your trip before we bothered you. No problem, buddy. Your family, I told you that from day one when I met you. You're more than welcome to message me anytime you want. R says, what's Stu doing these days? Let's take the high road on this. Let's agree to disagree. I love that motto right there. Agree to disagree. We're all humans. We all have our own opinions. Not every person on the planet is Democrats, Republicans, Independents, or anything else, conservative, labor, whatever. We all have our own mindsets. And when you guys come out to Thailand, all that's going out the window. That doesn't matter anymore. The only thing you're interested in is, hey, where's the next good restaurant that I haven't tried yet? He says, I only aggressive debate these subjects, and I don't want to bring that here. Pick another platform. Okay. Yeah. I don't mind people disagreeing. To me, that's part of life. We all have our own opinions, and we should do, but as far as arguments, we don't need them. Just keep it friendly and everybody's good. British Knight says, I've seen YouTube videos of people leaving Thailand after the earthquake to settle elsewhere. If this continues, do you see Thai government reversing some visa changes, 60 days to 30, digital entry visa. Well, they are talking about the 60-day to 30. They haven't implemented it. It's only talk until they get it passed by government, because they put in legislation to get it passed in the first place from 30 to 60. Then I can't see any changes there. But Thailand has never had an earthquake, and it didn't have an earthquake this time. The earthquake actually happened um, in a neighboring country, and it was felt in Bangkok, and a building that was in the process of being constructed fell. It was not a completed building. It was only a high rise that they were only working on the outside structure when it fell. It hadn't hardened enough for it to withstand the earthquake and have the anti-earthquake shocks put in there. So it wasn't a Thailand earthquake. Let's get the facts there right, British Knight. Not having to go at you or anything, brother. But no, it was a neighboring country that had the earthquake, and it was felt as far away because it was a 7.7 magnitude earthquake. So, yeah, bad one. White Lime, Trump is just trying to reduce interest payments on US national debt at the expense of the world. Well, you think about US debt, it is astronomical. And if you listen to the top economists of the world, they will tell you outright by the year 2035, America will have so much debt that it won't be able to afford to pay Social Security anymore. That's something to think about, because 2035 is only 10 years away, and they've got to do something to reduce the debt. They have to. That's a no-brainer. I think that these high tariffs on the world is a huge wake-up call. I think it's gone a little bit to the extreme. I was expecting, sort of, 25% across the board. I wasn't expecting it as high as what it was. I mean, China's got 54% now compounded tariffs on it now. Vietnam 49%, China, Thailand 34% or 36, whatever it is a lot higher than anybody expected. But they got to do something. It's not fair for America to take in all these um, goods without charging them tariffs. But when we want to send our goods to them, then we're getting hit with astronomical tariffs. Look at the EU, for example, White Line. Okay. EU gets to ship in all their European cars, for peanuts to America. But if America tries to ship Harley Davidsons and, um, American cars or motorhomes over there, they get hit with astronomical tariffs. So for the government to hit them with a 20% tariff, I think they got away easy, and they should pretty much accept that, because they're hitting them with a hell of a lot higher. I know, because when I was in the army and I was stationed in Germany, we could ship our motorcycles over to the base one time for free, but if we wanted to ship them back, we had to pay for it. And the prices that Europe wanted from us to ship them back, because we got them in for free, was more than what it would cost the value of the car or the motorbike. So we all just sold them to other people on the base for half the value, and we lost half our money. So yeah, Europe's been hitting America hard for a long time. I have to give Trump credit on that one item. That one I will agree with him on, but not many things do I agree with him. Ray Nathan says, "Hello, Cooper. American are taken for a ride for a long time. Payback time." Yeah, as I just discussed, Europe was one of them. The EU. R says, "I was thinking of the size of the Escalade, and I get it. I had an expedition. The size and the comfort is good for America, but not in most countries. The biggest car I could do is a Toyota 4Runner." Yeah, I do miss them though. R, come on, man. You've had an expedition. You know what I'm talking about. They're just a big hunk of metal, and they're fantastic cars to have out in the States. Yeah, you just feel super protected. You feel like you're in a limousine when you're driving one. It's just us men with our, illogical thinking, bigger is better. Duke says shipping cost for the shoes would still be less than if they were made in the USA. Trump's tariffs and game is for the shoes to be made in America while forcing Nike to have lower margins. I don't think that's going to happen, Duke. I really don't. I can't see it happening because if they're made in America, the price they would have to pay Americans to make them, you'll be talking $1,000 pair of Nikes. Who's going to spend $1,000 on a pair of Nikes? That's for them to break even. Nobody's going to spend $1,000 on a pair of Nikes. They'll go buy a pair of Pumas instead. Some other sneaker brand. They're not going to do it. So it's just economically impossible for Nike just to up and move from Vietnam and go to pick a city in the US and open a factory and pay somebody $30 an hour to work on an assembly line. That's what they're going to have to pay them. And right now they're probably paying somebody $4 an hour on an assembly line in Vietnam. So look at the price margins that's going to cost. JD Shemp says slave labor needs to end. I agree with you. Need to bring manufacturing back to our irrespective countries, wherever you are in the world, but you need to do it on the right basis. American, where they can really excel is in AI and robotics. You got some of the brightest minds in the world in America, in the West. The robotics factories right now are taking off big time. You look at Tesla. By the end of this year, they're supposed to have 5,000 of their Tesla bots out. By end of next year, they're supposed to have 50,000. By the end of the year after that, 500,000. It's going to go tenfold in magnitude every year. Well, somebody's going to need to program these. Somebody's going to need to repair them. They're going to break down like any electronical item on the planet. Things break down, cars break down, motorcycles break down, TVs break down, computers, cell phones, everything else breaks down. My old phone just got a green screen came up on it yesterday. I can't even get the damn thing to open. It comes up all green, so I got to take it to the repair shop. It's got a lot of my apps on there that I need. But yeah, I think that's where America should be heading right now, is in the AI and robotics industry, chip manufacturing, all those sort of things would be fantastic and high paying jobs for Americans. And that's what I would like to see, high paying jobs, people improving upon their lives and getting the jump start they like in life they need. So one day they can afford to buy their own home. Own their own car, not being $10,000 in debt to the credit card company every single month. I'd like to see, things get for the better. Stop trying to go after, companies like Apple and Nike. Already an Apple cell phone costs you $1,000 for, the base model Apple cell phone now, $1,000 I remember when these cell phones came out, they were like $100. Now they're $1,000. Think if Apple was to move to the U.S. and started making phones in the U.S., how much would they be? They'd be a lot more than freaking $1,000. I'll tell you. R says, what's Duke doing these days? Think for a second. Why does every major company want to manufacture outside of the USA? Because the cost of labor is expensive in the US. That's why. Because as I said, and he says, and then ship here because it's cheaper. So more money to the board and stocks. Yes, more money goes to the board and stocks, but it also makes it possible for you to have a pair of cheaper Nikes, $100 to $300 a pair. Like I said, think how much it would cost if Nikes were made in New York City. How much would you be paying for a pair of Nikes then? What would the labor cost be? It'd be a minimum of $30 an hour. Who in New York's going to work for under $30 an hour? You can't afford to. The prices are too expensive. So for like I said, for America to succeed in the upcoming and technology race, they need to embrace AI. They need to embrace technology. They need to embrace robotics. And that's where the future is. They can be the leader there. Americans could be making 50 to $100 an hour working in tech and having an excellent life. Stop chasing after the low menial jobs, that don't pay a lot of money, and you're struggling to make ends meet. And sometimes you got to have two, three jobs and another job on the weekend. Stop chasing them and start embracing the future. That's why I would like to see America go. Tim P says the US made the mistake of allowing an agreement for China to become the world economy powerhouse in manufacturing in exchange for the US being the world's superpower in the 60s. Well, they only got that way, Tim, because of their intellectual cheating. To open a company in China, you have to give the blueprints of it, exactly what it is you're building and what it does, the programming involved and everything else. And we call that intellectual theft. Nowhere else on the planet are you required to do that. If you're a Chinese company and you want to open a company in America, you're not required to give up all your trade secrets on how you make it. That's why we have patents, so nobody else can steal your technology. But China doesn't abide by patents and steals everybody's technology. Hence why they're sort of leading right now in the EV market. So BYD is their largest EV company in China, and it's all over Asia. I see BYDs all over the place here in Thailand. So that's got to come to a stop. It should be fair trading for all. Duke says, I know that, but it makes Americans dependent on goods outside of the country. It does. It does. It makes it dependent on goods outside of the country because everybody wants cheaper products. Thais want cheaper products. They don't want stuff from, you know, um, anywhere in the world selling cheaper than the Thai products, and Thai businesses going out of business. They don't want that to happen, and unfortunately, America did it that way. They got themselves to blame. But there is a way out of this for the US, and way out of it is fair trade for all, and start to embrace the future, where the future is going to be in the next 10 years. We're going to see a lot of things. I mean, you look at Dubai. Dubai's invested a lot of dirhams, Dubai dirhams, billions of dirhams, and drones. And they're the man drones that a person can go inside. A drone will pick you up at the airport and fly you direct to your hotel. Talk about world class. That's where Dubai's heading. They want that. They want, these drones which can fit 2 to 4 people in comfortably, and they'll be automated AI, pick you up from where you want to go to where you want to go. And they're embracing technology like there's no tomorrow. I once went to a electronic exhibition. I forgot what the name of it was, in Dubai, and the the technology that they had on show there absolutely blew me away. It was like out of the futuristic movies. The ones where you see an AI person come from a projector and they're standing in front of you. They actually had that there on demonstration. One person was in a booth talking to another person that was in a booth the other end of the electronic exhibition center, and you could see them, those two, in the middle, and they were like 500 yards away from each other, and they were talking to each other, and the other person was standing in front of them as a hologram. That's the word I'm looking for, hologram. They actually had it. It was real. It wasn't something out of Star Trek or Star Wars anymore. They actually had it. That's the way the future's going. It's going there a lot faster than any of us ever thought of. Alpha Romeo says, hello, everyone. Hello, Romeo. Thank you for coming on and joining us, brother. Duke says, people upset about tariffs need to look at their own country and see how much they have imposed on U.S. companies. I think that the whole world should be tariff-free. Stop it. Free trade for everybody. Open economies. Let the strongest survive. Canadians upset about the 10% tariff from the US conveniently forget the 100% tariff on US milk and other stuff for years now. Yeah, there's an imbalance. Everybody knows there's a trade imbalance. Nothing new there, Duke. An ideal world, there would be 0% tariffs for all countries, i.e., free trade. Exactly what I just said. Yep, great minds think alike. Tommy Lee says, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Tommy. Thank you for coming on and joining us. JD Shemp says, need to get all the condiments out of U.S. contaminants out of U.S. food. That's why Canada and EU dislike our products. There's the thing. Maybe that's why old Kennedy's in there and he might make some improvements into there. Yeah, American food's not the healthiest. That's why we have a big problem with obesity. You know, I can talk. I'm obese. I'm too much overweight. I think my BMI is 32% BMI, body mass index, overweight. 1 second, folks. Terry says it do. There's a quota system on dairy from the U.S. They never reach that amount, hence no tariff is collected. Okay. Ours says that what's Stu doing these days? All I can say is this. Find your best Trump supporter to debate, and I will destroy them with facts, not feelings, sir. Yeah, we all have different opinions, but that's what makes us all human, isn't it, R? We're all on here, and even if we disagree about politics and who's in power and who's not in power, we all have one dream, and that's to come to Thailand and retire and live the good life. Duke says that quota system is BS. It's no tariff under 1 million gallon or something. Then government says Canadians are cross-border shipping 1 million gallons of milk. So next drop imported milk, get 100% tax. I have no idea. I've been out the state so long, I couldn't even tell you on that one, folks. The dairy industry in Canada is a mafia and protectionist. When milk farmers have excess milk, they are forced to dump it in the field, so not to lower the prices for consumers. Didn't know that. But you know what, guys? Let's keep it all friendly. It's not about who's getting one over on the other country. It's about how it's actually affecting Thailand. And that's the whole reason I wanted to make this, is I wanted to give you some positive light in the storm ahead. You know, that there is a light in the beacon, and it says Pattaya is a place to be, Jomtin is a place to retire, and your dollar and your currency right now are going further than they did 3 weeks ago. And if they bring down the prices, if Thailand agrees with America, and they come to an agreement like Vietnam has turned around and said only 2 days ago. They contacted the American government and said, "Hey, we'll give you 0 tariffs. We're not going to charge you 90% anymore, whatever the figure was. You know, we're not going to charge you that. We're going to give you 0 tariffs. Please, please, please give us 0 tariffs." Thailand jumped on the same bandwagon the very next day, said we're willing to do the same. I think it's going to be a reciprocal across a lot of countries. Nobody wants a recession. Nobody wants a recession. So watch this space. Matt Smith says, listen to old Ross Perot videos. Too bad Americans didn't listen. I remember those. Man, we're old, aren't we, Matt? Julie Perkins says, and Adrian and I have always agreed to disagree. That's why we've been married so long. I know, 45 years. Wow, that was a blessing in disguise. Well done, you two. But John Bain says that Matt Smith, he's the first person I thought of when Trump showed that chart. Okay, yeah. Yeah. Oh, Ross Perot, yes. Terry Fallon said, agree to disagree at Duke. Yeah, we all agreed to disagree. That's no problem there. And Julie Perkins says, hit the thumbs up button. Yes, please. 116 people online. If you're watching, please hit the thumbs up. It helps support our channel. Thank you very much. Thailand was charging 68% tariffs on the Americans. Well, Thailand claims they're only charging 8% on Americans. Why did I get charged 80% for buying off Amazon then from America if it's only 8%? Why do people get charged 300% import tax to bring their vehicle over to Thailand? Not exactly 8%, is it? And I know there's a difference between taxes and tariffs, but they're both taxes, either way you look at it. It's just calling them by a different name. R says, I just saw a video of the damage, the earthquake in Chiang Mai. It was nowhere near horrific, but it was shocking on the building they showed. The building did not fall, but it had quite a bit of damage. There was a lot of damage um, up north, but you're right. It, the building was designed to be earthquake proof. I know the one you're talking about, R. I did see it as well. Yeah, it was leaning, but it didn't actually fall. It did withstand the earthquake, and nobody was injured, which was absolutely fantastic. Which is why I love Thailand's strict building codes that they do actually enforce this. Ernest Jones, a channel member with a badge next to his name. Thank you, Ernest. God bless you, brother. Says, good morning, Cooper, Darlene, and Brooke. Good morning to you. Good evening to you from Thailand, Ernest. Jay Easy, how's the stock market doing? Not good. All down across the board. Only thing that's up is Bitcoin. Crypto is up. Everything else is pretty much down across the whole planet. Bitcoin and crypto took a dump and then came back up. So it's even gold is down right now. R says that Roger Moore, a smaller country, should do that. They need to protect their similar companies. That makes sense, not what we are doing. Um, all countries need to protect themselves. You can have a free trade agreement and say, okay, for example, America, we need oil. We'd like your oil um, to buy from you, and America can look at you and say, okay, um, we like your sneakers. There's your free trade agreement. Yeah, zero tariffs to each way. But countries can also turn around and say in a free trade agreement, and this is perfectly legal, a lot of them do it. We have to protect this industry. We want a free trade with you, but we have to protect our farmers. Okay, our country is an agricultural country. We don't want your farm products coming in underpricing ours and putting our farmers out of work. So we'll do free trade with you in the areas that we need. For example, electronics, AI, robotics, whatever, gasoline, rare earth minerals, whatever the product may be. And we'll trade you, of what you need from us. But we have to exempt, farming from the free trade agreement. And that's done all the time, all over the world, where they have a specific industry that they thrive in and they don't want any harm coming to that industry. That's perfectly normal. Uh, JY Travel Venture says, I'm excited to simply leave it all behind and move to Thailand. Well said, JY. That's what I want all of you to do. Give it all up. Get the hell out of Dodge. Get over here and live the good life. Well said, JY, says Jay Easy. Amen. JY says, I should be there by January at the latest. We'll be looking out for you when you get here, brother. JD Shemp says, the American teat has been shut off. Okay, you got me on that one. I think you're missing a letter there. Treat, maybe? The American treat has been cut off. You have to reword that one there, JD. You got me. Duke says the price to have Americans to make shoes will be well within their sale margin. Any products that have 300,000% margins has room. You're going to be charged. You're going to be paying somebody $30 an hour to make shoes. And then you got to think of the American overheads. I'm just not sure. I would love to be wrong, Duke. Believe me, I would love to be wrong. I'm not the Mr. Know-it-all. I would love, for manufacturing to come back to the US, but I have to be a realist and think, that it's time for America to move on and thrive in other areas. And I think it has the potential to do it, tenfold. And I would like to see Americans on higher paid income. I'd like to see them on, fantastic wages with fantastic benefits, where their salaries are, outpacing inflation, and they're able to afford the nice luxuries that they want. Being able to go on holiday every year, be able to buy a new vehicle, not be up to their eyeballs in debt, $10,000 per credit card or whatever, mortgage rates going through the roof and they can't afford to own home and they're foreclosing, on their homes. I don't want that for anybody in the West. I think that it's time to move away from these things and let the cheap countries continue making the cheap products and at our benefit, and we move on to the bigger projects that are going to be a lot more in demand in the future. AI, robotics, technology. Frank says, "Hey brother, nice hearing your wisdom. We are in the Roy Et area. Love Thailand. Love my wife, Chai. Love the terrace also. What is wrong with reciprocal with these implants? I can't say it. Reciprocity. The stock market is a knee-jerk reaction. Yeah, the stock market will bounce back. I think it's not quite hit the bottom yet. I think we got a couple more days. The fear and greed index is well down. I think it's at 7%, which is ultimate fear, if there is one, in the US stock market right now. But I think it'll bounce back, give it another 2 weeks, and it'll start coming back up. JY says, I'll retire in May and then it's just selling my house and car. There you go, buddy. I did it. I sold everything I owned. I did. I got rid of it all. I didn't want it, got rid of it, had one big, huge sale, posted it on loads of different websites, and I had people knocking at our door at all times of the day saying, I want this, I want to buy that. Have you still got this? And, we got rid of everything. Me and Darlene, we got rid of everything that we had and made the leap and said, all that's replaceable. The one thing that's not replaceable is you. But material things, you can always replace them. Communist slave labor, for us, maybe that's what we call it, JD Shemp, communist slave labor. But for those people that are doing the communist slave labor, they're actually thinking, I've got a job and I've got a roof over my head and I can feed my family. We call it communist slave labor because it's a lot less than any of us could afford to live. But $4 an hour in Vietnam is actually a good wage. Balada's World said, just another Mac, and they are made in Vietnam. I wanted to purchase it before my move to Thailand. Just got another Mac. Yeah. Good computers, Macs. I like Macs. Yep. This is one we're using, Apple Mac. Very good, well made, sturdy. Love them. Terry Fallon says, good for you, JY. I'm coming to Thailand. Hard Tulip. Cooper, how did that New Jersey politician manage to talk for 24 hours? I don't know, but he could, couldn't he? JD Shemp, who profits from debt? These are the ones that control America. Yeah. I mean, the World Bank controls America, if you think about it. America's so far into debt, there's no way out. That's why they're looking at the strategic Bitcoin reserve for crypto, because they're saying the writing on the wall, in 10 years' time, it could pay off half the American debt, which would give a lot of Americans a great big tax relief, and will allow them to invest in further infrastructure and better in the country. So I think that that is a very good way forward for the U.S. right there, the SBR. And a lot of states want to adopt it too. Over 30 US states want to adopt it. And countries around the world are announcing on a monthly basis, we want to get into it too. Digital money, everything's going digital, folks. Everything's going digital in the future. Jay-Z, to be fair, the states should ramp up jobs for infrastructure, roads, etc. The states are way behind compared to Thailand. Yes, but it costs money, Jay-Z. Where are they going to get the money from? I mean, the GDP, the American GDP right now, Jay-Z, they're the amount that they have to pay back on their debt for the first time in history is more than the entire US defense military. For the first time in history, it's gone over it. Can't sustain that debt level. Something's got to give. Something's got to give one way or another. You can't sustain it. In 10 years' time, there's not going to be any more Social Security. There's not going to be any money for it. The debt spiral is out of control. They have to do something. Now, I'm not saying Trump's right in what he's doing with these tariffs. I think he's gone way overboard, and I'll say it. I do. I'm an independent. Of course, I can say it. I'm not because I'm not Republican or Democrat. I'm an independent. I could say the rights and the wrongs with both parties. They both got them. But in my view, I think he's gone way too overboard. He should have just done a 25% flat rate. That's what the market was expecting. When he went as high as what he did, it scares a lot of people, and something's got to give. The easiest way out of it, buy crypto. The price of crypto goes up to the moon. 10 years later, you pay off your debt. Job done. You don't have to worry about it anymore. You then have money for all the improvements in the roads, the high schools, the fire departments, the police force, the schools, the nature reserves, everything. You've got enough to pay for it then. That's the way out of it. Invest in the future. Get into crypto. The price goes through the fucking roof. Excuse my French, folks. And then you pay off your debt. You pay off your debt. You don't owe anybody anymore. And then what do you got? You got a thriving economy. Everybody's happy. It's like it was back in the 70s where everybody's making money and everybody can afford to buy their own home. And that's, to me, where I see things going. It has to, or it's going to collapse one way or another. R says, I know why they really need to bring jobs back to the U.S., but it is too long to explain in here, and it's not what is being said to the public. I know what's been said to the public is a completely different story. You and I agree on that. Yeah, 1000%. I know that, but yeah, he's just trying to. I don't know. Some people say he's trying to get the stock market down as low as he can, so people can buy back in and make billions and billions of dollars. I don't know. I don't know. Our Tulip says, Cooper, where were you born in the UK? Norwich. Oh, well, actually, I was born in Lakenheath, and we lived in Norwich. I was born at Lakenheath Air Force Base in Thetford. My dad was in the American Air Force. But John Bain says the longest filibuster in history was way longer than 25 hours. Oh, really? Who is that? I can't filibuster for that long. Not by myself. No way. Winning Stride says everything is negotiated. No one country has paid a penny of those proposed tariff increases. Well, that's what we're all hoping for, Winning Stride. We're hoping that this could be negotiated and short-lived and it's lasts less than 2 weeks. That's what everybody is hoping for. And Thailand and Vietnam seem to be leading the way, saying, we'll make a deal with you, zero tariffs reciprocal, which will be fantastic. I hope the whole world does it. Ring Nathan says, Cooper, I heard the building collapsed in Thailand is Chinese company supplied metal. That's a rumor. That has not been proven, Ring Nathan. That was a rumor that came out, and right now, and the Thai government has got their building inspectors inspecting it to see if there was any substantial material. What caused the building to actually fall down? My thoughts are it was in the early stages. It was before they could put in the earthquake proofing into it, because you have to put the metal pylons in, the girders, and then you have to put the cement around that, and then you have to, once that's all in and hardened and the structure is sound, then you put the earthquake and shockers system in there. And they hadn't got to that stage. They were in the very early stages of the building. JD Semp says, Israel has been caught selling American tech secrets to China. A lot of countries are doing it. Iran does it. China has what they do is to avoid the U.S. tariffs and taxes, they'll send it to other countries and then ship it from there to get a lower rate, bring it into the U.S. We've known that for dozens of years. That's one way they do to avoid tariffs. Iran does it. They're still selling their oil even though they got an embargo against them, by the West. Russia does it as well. They're still able to get their products out, even though there's been a lot of sanctions on them. They're still able to get them out. They just put them on ships from other countries with different flags on them and use them as Russian ships. That's a well-known trick that people try play all over the world. You'll see on the news, oil tanker, from a certain country that's got a trade embargo on it, will line up with another oil tanker in the middle of the ocean, thinking nobody can see them, except we got the old satellites up in the sky, and they're transferring between the two ships, and the other tanker takes off and goes and takes the oil where it's not supposed to be going, and they've been doing that for a long time to avoid sanctions. They catch them periodically, they catch them. Valetta's World says America messed up years ago, and we need people in charge that know how to fix this. Yeah, we did. We made a mistake. We allowed the non-tariffs to go on too long, Valletta, after World War II. We wanted to help Europe and Japan rebuild themselves, but what the mistake that America made was they allowed it to go on too long, and for them to allow them to charge us tariffs, but we weren't charging them tariffs because we wanted to help them rebuild their country. Once they got rebuilt, it only took 10 years to rebuild the country. 1955, 60 max, we could have had reciprocal tariffs or no tariffs whatsoever. All the countries have been rebuilt by then. You know, um, it's our own fault. It was our generosity and kindness that caused it. If you want to think about it that way, everybody thought, well, it's not broken, no harm, no foul. We'll still play the good guy. In the meantime, American companies that are want to export are getting hurt financially, and the foreign countries that export are the ones winning, and that's why China's winning the game. First thing I would do is stop foreigners from purchasing land, homes, starting businesses without an American. That's what they do in Thailand, Beletta. Foreigner can't buy land in Thailand. No, you can lease the land, but you can't buy it. But the Chinese can go over there to America tomorrow and buy up farmland right outside American military bases, and there's nothing nobody can do about it. Yeah, that's caused the house prices to go up. It's what caused the prices in England to go through the roof. They allowed anybody to come to that tiny island, England, and buy land, and they did. Anybody can go to America and buy land, and they do. Thailand says no, only for citizens. If you want to buy a house, fine, but you can only lease the land, and that protects the property prices from getting out of control. Without an American partnership, I got you. Yeah, whole world should do that. Um, Duke says Nike doesn't sell their $300 shoes to Thais at prices relative to local incomes. No, because they have a free trade agreement between Thailand and Vietnam. I can buy on Lazada over here, Duke. I can buy on Shein, and I pay the normal price, and they ship it straight to my door. It's a small shipping fee, but you're talking peanuts. Nothing to break the bank. But there's no taxes or tariffs involved because they have agreement. It's called My Asia. And he says, because they can gouge Western consumers, not sure why folks are fighting for big corps excluding foreign labor. If they had the same deal that they had with Thailand, with the US, then yeah, you would see your Nike shoes come down a hell of a lot. Kim Henriksen says, have you heard of crypto mining company near Bangkok that have scammed people? It should be in the courts now. I've heard pivots, but I haven't actually looked into it. There's scams going on with crypto all over the world. You look at the FTX scandal that happened years ago. You look at the more recent one that happened in the last month, where Ethereum got scammed. Out of a lot of their Ethereum. Yeah, it happens all the time. People not checking the addresses where they're sending it to, and they lose it. That's why I only buy crypto through the stock exchange. I feel a lot safer and I'm protected, and it is FDIC insured. So that is important to me. And regulated. And it says it should be in the courts now. I haven't looked a lot into it, Kim. Sorry. Hard Tulip says JD Shemp, same problem with US cars. Yes. Try and get one into Thailand, see what they charge you. Valletta says you can't go to a lot of countries and do this, purchasing homes, starting business, etc. Well, you can start a business in Thailand. It's just you have to be in the business at 49%, and a Thai has to be in at 51%. The way around that foreigners do here, Valletta, is they have 2 or 3 Thais. So you're the 49%, so the controlling shareholder. So you get the overall say, and if you have 2 or 3 Thais in there, then they're sharing it at 12% each, which means that you are the controller. You have the control of the shares and the business. But yes, you can open a business in Thailand. But John says the weird thing about the tariffs is the projected 2026 U.S. Social Security COLA cost of living allowance is only 2.2%. That less than inflation was last year. That is true. Yes, that is less than inflation. That's why Powell's got to do something. He's going to have to do some rate cuts this year. I'm projecting a minimum 1 basis point this year. So I could easily see 3, 4 rate cuts starting with the first one next month. Tim P, you nailed it, Coop. Who's going to pay someone $30 an hour to make a pair of Walmart $20 sneakers? Here in Edmonton, we had a Levi plant in the 70s. It closed and moved to China in the 80s. Yeah, cheap labor. That's what they were after, Tim. To keep the consumers happy in Edmonton, so they can still get it for the same price, and it's made outside country. That's what they did. But then what they did is they kicked themselves in the butt by not giving pay rises to those though that were making $30 an hour to go up with the rate of inflation. And therefore, if the shoes became $300 and you're now making $50 an hour, well, that's not too bad, is it? You're still able to afford it rather than you're down at $20 an hour and the shoes are $300. So the West hurt themselves when they decided to source all this stuff out to poorer countries that can manufacture it a lot cheaper because they had the cheaper labor force, because the cost of living was a lot lower in their countries. $4 an hour in Vietnam is good money. $4 an hour for somebody picking strawberries out in California is terrible money. So that's that's their own wrongdoing. They didn't think of it. They just thought, oh, we want to keep the prices low for our citizens, and they'll keep electing us into power. Meanwhile, people are losing their jobs and on welfare, on unemployment, and not succeeding in life. The way they want to. Everybody wants to work. Everybody wants to make money. Everybody wants to thrive and have a good retirement, and enjoy their life. But when they outsource these jobs, they cut their own foot off to spite their face, as the old saying goes. That was the worst mistake. And now they're trying to bring it back. I think it's too late. I think it's too late to bring them back. I think what they need to do is start embracing the future and start working at that and repairing it from the forward in time rather than trying to repair the past. I think it's too late to repair the past. I think it's time to move forward. That's my thoughts. In my opinion, I'm entitled to it, and you guys are entitled to yours too. If you guys think I'm wrong, that's entirely your choice, and I don't mind you thinking I'm wrong. We've all got our own opinions, but that's why I would like to see the future go. I'd like to see everybody thrive. More people make more money. More people have better hopes and chances in the future. I want to see our grandchildren live the good life. Talk about 2027 was the best year ever. I was making 100,000 a year, and all I was doing was filling people's gas up at their car. Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't it? Roger Moore says, in America's new tariffs, any Chinese built ship shall be charge 1.5 million each port visit, and companies that own Chinese-built ships but have foreign-built ships, other shall be charged 1 million. Are you talking about the canal there, Roger? That they're charging, Chinese peanuts for the canal that we actually built. The Americans built it, and turned it over to them. I'm not going to name the country. You guys know who I'm talking about. YouTube doesn't like me using that word, so I'm not going to say it. But are you talking about that particular canal? I think you are. Hard Tulip. Cooper is obviously a Republican. No, I am not. Never have been, never will be. I'm not a Democrat either. I am an independent, and I don't mind saying it. Nope. I tell Trump when I'll tell you straight when I think Trump's wrong, and I'll tell you when I think he's right. And I think he screwed up big time this time. I think he went way overboard, and he's going to have to backtrack on it. Thank you for the information, Cooper. We were worried about the dollar losing its value. No, the dollar is doing very, very well over here in Asia. In the Philippines, the dollar is now at 57 pesos to the US dollar. It's the highest I've ever seen them, as far back as I can remember. I can't remember a time when it was actually higher than that at 57 pesos to the US dollar. Wow, that's fantastic. It really is. When I lived in the Philippines 2 years ago, it was like 52 pesos. So it's doing very well right now, the US dollar. Actually, all the world's currencies are doing very well against Asia right now. JD Shemp says, America has some backstabbing friends. Don't we all? I think we all do. Frank T says, happy to hear that Thai US came to an agreement. Paying more to eat Thai food in the US would suck. Yeah. Americans like their Thai food, don't they? Over there. Yeah. And it is hellishly expensive. I got family in the States say they go to a Thai restaurant, they're spending $100 on a meal that I'll spend $5 here in Thailand. Yeah, unbelievable. Hard Tulip. Cooper, have you ever made a donation to charity for the earthquake victims? Have you made a donation to charity for the earthquake victims? No, I haven't. I made a donation, or I'm going to be making a donation actually, to Michael Sweezy, who passed away last week, and I'll be sending the coffee money. Everybody that bought me a coffee on our last live stream, I said I'll match it dollar for dollar, and I'll send it to his daughter so she can arrange to get his body back home and have a funeral for him. So that's what I've done. But John Bain, the projected rate of U.S. inflation for Q2 of 2025 is only 2.5%. Is it really? That's what they'd like us to believe, but with the prices of everything about to be going up, I think they're going to have to reevaluate that price prediction for Q2, especially if Powell doesn't lower the interest rates next month. But John, I can see that figure easily reaching 4%, if not higher. Frank says, I think you may have mentioned this. U.S. products in Thai should be cheaper with the U.S.-Thai agreement. Keep us updated if you see this when you go shopping. I will, of course. I do look periodically, and the prices come down for U.S. goods in Thailand, or Western goods in Thailand, I'll be the first to let you know. I promise. I do my luxuries every now and then. But John says 95% of the earthquake casualties live in Myanmar. Yes, that's where the epicenter of the earthquake was. And they did have a spot of good news, but John, the people there that are at the rescue site where the condo building collapsed in Bangkok, they have the sensor system there. I think it's infrared or something, and they said they were able to detect a heartbeat. So somebody is still alive, and they're hoping to get them out. That's in the rubble. Several days after it happened, somebody's still alive. So there may be a miracle to come out of this. A lot of Thais are praying for it. Raphael says, good morning from Tampa. I will be relocating there in June. Will there be any long-term rentals available at District Grand Park? Yes, June is a great month. The time you find difficulties, Raphael, is after September till the end of April. That's when high season starts to come into force, and the landlords want to rent it out for the big money for the people that come for 1 month or 2 months. so they can charge an extra 50, 100% on top. So the closer you get to the tourist season, which is November to end of April, first week of May, the harder it is to find availabilities. But you coming here in June, you should have no problem whatsoever. Blakester Drums says, good evening. Just popped in and scanned through chat. I believe you misspoke 20 minutes ago about Fed lowering rates when inflation goes up. It's the opposite. They raise rates to curb inflation. I believe that's what I said. Did I misspeak? I apologize. You're absolutely right. And I agree with you. That's what I should have said. My bad if I did. It's been a long day. I had to pick up Darling from the hospital today, so I was there with her for about 5 hours, waiting for the insurance company to say uh, we approve or disapprove the claim. So it took forever. Captain Action, 58 likes. Hello, Darlene Cooper. 58 likes. We're going to be wrapping this up shortly. 1 hour and 56 minutes, and I'm running out of steam. Alpha Romeo says, hopefully the tariffs and times ahead are short-lived. Bought more Bitcoin on the recent dip. Smart man. I actually did buy some stuff on Friday, and I'll tell you all on Monday. Bajon says Thursday could offset the impact of the export tax by allowing Western tourists and select others 60-day visa waiver on arrival. They'd make more money. Could offset the impact of the export tax by allowing Western. Right now, the expats get 60 days on arrival. Yeah. I hope they don't change it to 30. I hope they keep it at 60 because it gives a great chance, John, for those that want to retire, but they're not sure if Thailand's the place for them. 60 days is, a lot longer than 30 days. And they can get a good feel for the land and the layout and even extend it for a further 30 days and travel around different areas to see what's best for them. Philip Hunt says, good day, everyone. Only 9 days and I will be in Jomtien. Getting really excited. See you soon, Philip. Terry Fallon says, would have been nice if the U.S. Conferred with each country individually and worked out trade agreements. This approach is just causing chaos. Yeah, I can see that, Terry. But then if you take the other side of the coin on that, I can see their logic. Not that I agree with it, I can see it. That if they hit everybody at the same time, then they don't drag this out for years. As I think that's what they're thinking. If they do everybody at the same time, then they can get it all dealt with really quick and not have to sit down with every single country, over 200 countries they announced and putting tariffs on. It taken 10, 20 years to sort out, because it's a lot of time that you got to sit down and talk to these people. If you get them to say straight up off the bat, like Vietnam and Thailand, okay, zero tariffs, we can do that. Then it's done and dusted. Get it over quick and painless as possible. I think that's what they're thinking. I don't know if that's what's actually going to happen, but I think that's the thoughts behind it. Tim P says the U.S. needs to step up its inspection procedures. An example is the bird flu egg situation in the U.S. The EU and Canada have very strict inspection procedures compared to the US, and I'm not bashing. A lot of people do. Europeans won't buy American chickens because what they're coated in, I can't say that on YouTube either, unfortunately. I've heard of people getting kickback from getting trouble from YouTube for saying it. But yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. Millions of Americans are bankrupted because they get sick. Yes. Congratulations, JY, on coming to Thailand. Hit the like button. Yes, please, Captain Action. R says that Tim P, you do realize that they fired a lot of FDA inspectors. They fired a lot of people. The courts are getting involved. It's getting messy. Deported American citizens that shouldn't have been deported, and all sorts of stuff is going on. My God, it's a complete mess right now. Oh boy. But John says Boeing is the largest U.S. exporter by dollar value, exporting about 80% of the commercial airplanes it builds. Yes, Boeing is a huge company based in the USA. Hence why I can't understand why airfares are going up. Planes are made by Boeing. The air fuel is made in America as well, in Texas. Why is the airfare going up? Doesn't make any sense. To dominate in AI, robotics, and other high tech, U.S. needs to fix education system and require competency rather than passing on those who fail. Otherwise, they'd expect same in life. That's why we got college, Hunter. That's why we got universities, because it weeds out those that got the special treatment when in high school or cheated off their buddy, and all that. When they get to college and they get to university, they figure out that they can't do that, and that's a lot harder, you know. Um, then that's where the strong survive and the weak don't. Norwegian Cruise Line stock fell 16% on Friday. Really, Bijan? I didn't know that. Wow, that's a lot. The market will and always does bounce back, but the question is, how long does the bounce take? I'm hoping not long, I'm with you on that and everybody else. I'm hoping it's not long. I'm hoping it's short lived. I'm hoping that they can get at least half of these sorted before the month of April's out. That's what I'm fingers crossed. JY says you got to put your pennies where the rich put their dollars. I made my own crypto reserve and I've been buying this market all the way down. Smart man, JY. That's what I did. Captain Action. I would tell you a joke about Social Security, but you're never going to get it. Okay, that's a good one. Hang on, I need to wet the old whistle. Tim P says, even prior to the layoffs, that's why there is a big huff between Canada, Quebec specifically, and the U.S. not importing dairy from the U.S. And from us. Yeah, I got you. I am amazed that the pandemic did not show people that America does not really make that much. Oh, we import. America doesn't make a lot anymore. They outsourced so much stuff. So much stuff is unbelievable. That's what's made poverty so big in America right now. But John says 20% of the Gap, 50% of Nike, and 39% of Adidas are made in Vietnam. Gap owns Old Navy, Banana Republic, and Althea. Yep. And people in Vietnam are saying, thank you. Give us more work, please. We're happy. JY says, totally agree with you, Coop. Crypto is the way along with high yield ETF stock, CEFs, etc. AI digital is the future, folks. It is the future. We have to face it. A lot of jobs we used to do aren't going to exist. There's not going to be any truck drivers soon. There's not going to be any taxi drivers. There's not going to be any factory workers. Robots will be doing all that stuff. We're going to be in programming and cybernetics and AI, and that's the way of the future. That is the way of the future. And Throckmorton, a channel member with a badge next to her name. Thank you, Annie. Says, every day I wake up in Thailand is a day I feel like I got out of the USA just in time. Well said, Annie. Well said. Yes, I know you absolutely love it here, and so do I. Hard Tulip says, I prefer the Scandinavian economic model. High taxes, good trade unions, socialist healthcare, good welfare system, etc. The Scandinavian model is actually a pretty good model there, Hard Tulip, because their pensions are extremely high, a lot higher than any other country in the world. Their pensions are super fantastic, but they pay high taxes. But then they get paid high salaries as well. But at the end, when they retire, they don't need to ever work another day in their life. Their money that they get is fantastic. You're absolutely right there. They're one of the best countries in the world for looking after their people. R says at Tempe, I was just making the point. It's going to get worse, a lot worse on the health and safety aspect. You can't have product increase and fire a large percentage of staff and expect the same results. That's what they do, though, don't they? They always go in overboard, fire too many people, and then have to hire half of them back again because they fired too many people. So if you're one of those ones that are fired and you're getting a year's severance pay and you get hired back, you should just got a year's bonus check for having a 1 week layoff at home. Not bad if you're one of those, but sorry if you're one of the other half. Yeah, they always go in hand over foot and overkill, in my opinion. Uh, s- they should evaluate it, get a professional evaluation team in and say, right, how many staff do we need to make this happen? Rather than going in overkill. Simply Social, channel member with a badge next to his name. Thank you very much. Says Trump is a genius. He is doing thing behind the scene we would not even understand. Trump established $5 trillion worth of investment in factories in one day. He created the greatest economy. His first term, he will do it again. Let's hope you're right, Simply Social. I respect your opinion. I'm not going to argue with it. I hope you're absolutely right. Right now, I'm kind of scared for my family and friends in the US. I got to be honest. I am. Um, they're going to have to roll back those tariffs. Yeah, he's got a lot of investment came in. I did see the news on that, and that is actually true and not fake news. I did see the news on that. That yes, there's Hyundai is going to build a factory over there, and they're going to build a chip factory as well. I saw the investments from Taiwan on that, so that's great. But these tariff things, I hope they get them sorted out damn quick because if not, people are going to be hurting very fast. I can't hold on for too long. Patrick Stewart says, I've been living in Thailand since March 2nd, 2025. Okay, 1 month. Well done. I've been trying to get in touch with you, but you were on a cruise. I now live in Pradamak, Pattaya. I really want to link up with you. Patrick, come with us on Monday. Route 66 will be there at 11 o'clock. It's on the dark side. Get a Bolt taxi and put in Route 66 where you want to go to. They'll take you straight there and come join us for American breakfast. Best time to meet up with us. We do it every Monday when we can. And other than that, we have the meet and greet on the fourth Tuesday of every month at Fraser's Sports Bar, 6 p.m. And I'd look forward to meeting you, Patrick. Simply Social. Since the worst bill in history in 1997, NAFTA, 90,000 factories have lost. Mm. NAFTA. Yeah, that was a bad one. If Dems would have gotten there, the U.S. would have been destroyed. They almost accomplished destroying our economy the last 4 years. The Dems and Reps are both accomplished. Well, both parties have made mistakes, folks. Both parties have made mistakes. I don't think we can put it on any one party. If you want to go back to put it on any one person, put it on Truman. There you go. Put it back on Truman. When World War II ended, what did he do? He said, okay, zero tariffs for Asia and for Europe. Truman did it. Look back in your history books. Truman was the one that set up no tariffs. Uh, yeah. So Henry S. Truman. Henry S. Truman. He was the one that did it. Sorry, I got a lisp. I can't pronounce words properly. But yeah, if you want to put the blame on anybody, that's the person to put the blame on. He did it to help out people, and nobody ever changed it. Tim P at R. I just want my Reese's peanut butter back from the U.S. and not $20 for a jar imported from the U.S. Yeah, I hear you, brother. Simply Social says Arkansas government just made it illegal for China to buy land from there. Good for them. Should be restrictions. Can't do it in China. Why can you do it in the U.S.? Bijan says Congress has to get inflation to a livable level by the midterms. I agree. By the midterms, or the Republicans are going to lose big time. Bijan says at Tempe, yeah, peanut butter and Villa Market is crazy. And that's where I go, Bijan. I like Villa Market to get my expat goods. And take, for example, Philippines. They got a place in the Philippines, a big Costco-like place. It's called SNR. Well, the Philippines only tax America, I think it's like 20% on imported foods. And therefore, they're not paying a lot more than America is for to buy American imports at SNR. Whereas we here, like at Villa Market, we're paying, over double what you would pay for it in the States. So yeah. if Thailand does go to zero tariffs, I hope they work on those taxes too, for the import taxes, and that way we get the same benefits the Philippines does. Simply Social says Asia is rich from selling products in the US. We've been a sucker until now. Trump is stopping other countries from taking advantage of us. Let's see if it works. I'll be the first to put my hand up and say, well done if he does. US need a visa system like Thailand. Well, that'll never happen. Simply Social. And you got me onto a point here. Give you a prime example. I get emails a lot from people that have written to me that are of retirement age now. They made a mistake in their youth. And they're like, Coop, I did this in my younger days. Will Thailand stop me from retiring in Thailand? Can I get a retirement visa? Will they let me in? And I say, yes, they will. But America never will. If you have a criminal record, you cannot go to America. And no matter what country you're from. I got friends that can't go to America. Never, ever can set foot in America. But yet they can travel the whole other planet. And these may be for crimes that were committed 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. America will never forgive you for that crime, whether you did it in America or not. They have a system called ETSA. You're required to have an ETSA check if you're not an American citizen to go to America. Or if you're from the West. I'm not talking about Canada. I know they have a special deal with Canada. But if you're from the West, America won't let you in if you got a criminal record. Could be something stupid as smoking a joint. Can't go. It's a drug offense. Even though marijuana is now legal in America, they still won't let you in. Crazy, ain't it? And that's what pisses me off about my own country. I'm ashamed of it in that way. Because I believe in forgiveness. I believe that no matter what you do in life, you can always amend your ways, change your ways, and make yourself a better person. And when somebody's done that and they've proven that through time, that they have changed their ways, they deserve a second chance. We all do. Who is America to say, no, you don't deserve a second chance? If you want to look at Trump, 37 felony convictions, and he's going to England and getting praised by the King of England. But yet England says you can't come to England if you got a felony conviction. But if you're a president, I guess that makes a different story. Yeah, it upsets me. It does. Because I am a big believer in second chances. R says, Simply Social, you're very optimistic, sir. Get rid of Walmart, bring back the small business, and bring back town character. I will pay extra for higher quality products. That's fair. We all will. Yes, sir. I am. America is back. That's okay. We're all welcome on here. All our opinions. Just don't argue. Just all get along. All have different opinions. All respect each other's opinions. Best way to be. Ty Bob says, "Hey, Coop, would the Thai government will the Thai government introduce a Department of Tariffs to watch over the retail market to make sure they are not abusing it and still charging the old cost of tariffs onto the buyer in Thailand?" Good question. Who knows? It could be part of the negotiation process that Thailand has with the U.S. Who knows? But believe me, there's such a lot of people over here, foreigners that are, on social media platforms like YouTube, that as soon as they just put it out on YouTube and, show proof. And there you go. The agreement's torn up and start again from scratch. So wait and see. Simply Social says, let's talk about the subsidies we give countries, $3 billion each. That is stop point two. Now, Cooper is a free thinking, but wrong at times, independent. That's okay. I don't mind being wrong. I'm just happy I got an opinion. I'm happy you got an opinion. I'm happy everybody's got an opinion. Simply Social says that building that went down was the only one contracted out by China. Yeah, it was the only one contracted out by China, but that doesn't make it the cause of why it went down. It went down because it didn't have the earthquake proofing in it yet, because it wasn't at that stage yet. Had nothing to do with what country made it. Fast food is $16 just for regular. Is that back home there? Valletta, right, Cooper. It's too late to go backwards. Change the laws and rules is where they should start. I agree. Um, American immigration law is one of the worst laws ever. It is. I got to say it, folks. Okay, I'm going to give you a situation. I got four brothers. One of those brothers is not an American citizen. Yet we're all born to the same father, all born in the same country, all born to the same mother, but one of us is not an American citizen. Why? Because the year of his birth, 1972. In 1972, the law changed that both of your parents had to be American citizens for you to be American. In 1971, if he was born in 1971, 3 months earlier, okay, he was born in February, if he was born in December, he would have been an American citizen. When the law said that one of your parents only had to be an American citizen, which is the law now. But immigration looks at the year that you were born. Wrong. Should be one law for everybody. If the law is what it is now, it should be the law of what it was then. Adoption Act. If you were adopted before 1985, you're an American citizen. If you're adopted by American parents. If you were adopted after 1985, sorry, you're an American citizen. If you were adopted before 1985, you're not, even if your American parents are American. That's screwed up. You're discriminated against the year that you were born. People that were in the Vietnam War, soldiers, met with the local ladies, had children. Every one of those children became American citizens even after their fathers died in the war. But if you were born during the Vietnam War in Germany or England or France or Australia during the same time frame when America was at war, you're not an American citizen. Not right, is it? So every president that's come in, be it Republicans or Democrats, they're all trying to change it. And the only thing they can do is change it from their time in office. They can't say, right, we're changing this for everybody, which is wrong. We need power to say, right, we need to make it equal for everybody. In America, can't do it. It's crazy. And that's why a lot of these illegals came in under Biden. A lot of the illegals came in under Biden because they were deported out of the US, kicked out of the US, told originally, you're deported for 6 years. 9/11 happens, and then all of a sudden it's for life. They can never come back, but yet they've already served their time. Yeah, maybe 30 years have passed, and they got kids and the wives and family and mothers and fathers, brothers and sisters, and they can't go see them. And Biden gave them a second chance, said, come on in. Trump says, no, I want all of you out. That's why America's so screwed up, the immigration system. That needs a complete, utter overhaul. I don't care who's in power. It needs a complete, utter overhaul. It's wrong. I think everybody deserves a second chance. Unless it's for murder or raping a baby, everybody deserves a second chance. And that's just my thoughts. I wish America would do it. I really do. It drives me nuts. I got family, I got friends that can never go to America for stupid bullshit. My brother went to Canada. He had 2 glasses of wine with his wife. Yeah, he got deported from Canada for being over the driving limit. 2 glasses of wine, can never go back to Canada for life. What the hell kind of world we living in? Come to Thailand. Get out of the matrix. That's all I got to say. Simply Social. Cooper, did you bring back those winnings you made on the ship? I sure did. At Simply Social, do you realize we live in hyper cosmopolitan plastic society. All of that is dead and gone. All the pro corporation, anti union people wanted this, and now you have it. Yes, bring back the unions. Avery Abroad says, I think with robotics, we can make more in USA if tariffs bridge the gap. We can make a lot of things in the USA. Americans are smart people. You got geniuses over there. There's so much potential with America. Just invest in the right structure. Is this at park right on beach? No, we are 2 blocks away from the beach, Simply Social. QZ Tube says America has the greatest economy in the world and is the global currency. Lesser economies, e.g., Thailand, Vietnam, using tariffs is reasonable. Imposing retaliatory tariffs is not reasonable. Should be 0 tariffs across the board. And approve what goods you want to come in and disapprove what goods you don't want to come in. That's not going to hurt your economy. That's all there is to it. If the goods aren't made here in Thailand, you should allow it to come in. Then that way you're not hurting anybody. Simply Social, yes, we are the big consumers. Yeah, we always have been. Roger Moore, any port visit East or West Coast? Trump plans for U.S. shipbuilding, but under the Jones Act, it will cost 5 times more to build the same ship in the USA. Only unions and protectionism gains, everyone loses. I think they can come to some sort of financial arrangement between them. Everything is open for negotiation right now, and I think the big reset is what's happening. Simply Social R says, do you mean the 15 billion we give to Israel each year? For the life of me, I cannot figure out the strategic value or the societal value or need. England gives away shitloads to India every year. Why? India's got more money than England. England's a tiny island, and they give away billions of pounds a year to India. For what? I have no idea. Governments do crazy things. America's not alone. England's in there too somewhere. Terry Fallon, CBD, great to see you, Coop. Until next time, take care. Thank you, Terry. I am well over time, but I got to get through the comments as quickly as I can. Great show as always, Coop and Darlene. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you, guys. Give me a break. I feel the same way. Thank you, Simply. Blakester Drums, got lucky and got XRP at $1.96 the other day. Overall, XRP has fared well, even doing better than Bitcoin percentage-wise. And I'll tell you on Monday what I did on Friday. Simply Social says this needs to be done. The country are lined up to build and make products in the USA. Trump is a genius. We'll see. Only time will tell. He'll either be the worst president in history or the best. It's not going to be any happy medium on this one, I'm afraid. FDA is incompetent. Too many government workers sucking off the taxpayers. Alicia Harris says, please help. An agent has posted on Facebook that on Friday, immigration told their agent no bank account for foreigners, even at Bangkok Bank or via agent. She was told to suspend banking service. Send me an email, Alicia, and I'll forward you on to somebody that can help in that department. I can't do it, but I can definitely forward you on to somebody who can. Simply Social at Hunter Orion, Cooper University is just teach bullshit. Now Trump is going to change it to merit, not this crazy system they have now. Okay, so I'm teaching bullshit. No problem. You got your opinion. You're welcome to it. C&D, did your recent dental appointment go well? The implants look great. Yep, I still got 3 more to go till I'm finished. Welcome Canada as the 51st in US. I say England as the 52nd because their pension sucks. It really does. I can say that I'm half British. They need to adopt the American Social Security system. This reminds me of the Boston Tea Party. Yeah, everybody's having their say in here. I don't mind. NAFTA sucked all the factories out of the country. That NAFTA was a big one. I'll give you that. Scandinavian only work with small population. Coop, most things are as simple as they seem. The prices went up on airlines just because greed. That's it. That's what I think it was. They're just jumping on the bandwagon like everybody else is. No justification whatsoever. Simply Social. No, it did not. They were going to leave anyways. You can only make a company stay if it's a national security concern. Yeah, they were going to leave because they can do it cheaper elsewhere. And Americans will buy it. Always will. When are Americans going to stop suckling the Trump title? He is a business failure, multiple bankruptcies, lost a couple of casinos there too. Doesn't pay his contractors. He is a used car salesman, nothing more, but still he's a billionaire. He give good and bad both there. Trump tit for not title. Yeah, we're all good. Blakester drums. But you know what? We're still all friends at the end of the day. That's what I like about this channel. We're all still friends at the end of the day, no matter what anybody's opinion. And I'd like to sit down with every one of you and have a coffee and shake your hand. R says Monday stock market will be a very telling day on how this will play out for the next month. I still think we got a couple of down days left, R. I think that the stock market's not quite hit the bottom, but it's getting fairly close. I say 1, 2 more days, midweek towards the end of the week, we should be easing up a little bit if everything goes out the way I hope it will. Simply Social. Those felony were BS and could have made up a lot more on you and me, Cooper, if they want to. Yeah, you may be right. They may have been BS. But here's the point. It wasn't about whether the felonies were BS, Simply Social. It was about the laws of the country. If you commit a felony, you're found guilty of a felony. We'll put it that way. We'll use it in a different term. He was found guilty of committing 30 odd felonies. Whether he did it or didn't, a different story. He was found guilty of it. The law in England is if you commit a felony, you cannot visit England. How is he going to have a meeting with the King of England, which he accepted because the British Prime Minister went over there and gave him a hand, shook his hand, and said the King would like to have give you a royal visit to England with 30 odd felonies that he's been convicted of. I didn't say he did it or didn't. I said he's been convicted of, okay? Why is he allowed to go? But my brother can never go back to Canada again because he had 2 glasses of wine. That's what my point is. Ain't the point whether he did it or didn't. It's just there's different rules for different people. The fact that he happens to be a billionaire and the president of the United States means England aren't going to uphold their laws, and he can just nilly on in anytime he so pleases and get a royal audience by the king. You commit a felony, you try and go to England, they're going to deny you. You commit a felony in your home country, you try to go to America, you deny you. You ain't getting in. Don't matter whether it was 30 years ago, 50 years ago, 70 years ago. You're still not getting in. They hold it against you for life. You commit a felony, and it was more than 10 years ago. Thailand will forgive you and let you come here and live and retire. Now you know why I love Thailand. And I'm sick and tired of the West. Because it's the land of forgiveness. It's the land of understanding. That's why I chose here to retire. And that's my whole point. Simply Social says, I can't believe Cooper is believing the felony propaganda. I said, you didn't listen to what I said. I know this comment came in after, before. I thought he was smarter than that. I didn't say that. I said convictions. I didn't say he actually did it or didn't. I said he was convicted. Big difference. Nicholas says, I massively regret voting for Trump. I never thought he would do this much damage in such short period of time. Nobody thought he was going to go that hard. Nobody. All the financial analysts will tell you they thought maximum 25% across the board. Nobody thought he was going to go as hard as he has, but I'm hoping he's right. I really am, and I'm hoping it's very short-lived for all of our sakes. Hard to American, you cannot fly directly to Cuba. Have you been? No. Never. I've been off the coast of Cuba from a trip from Florida on a catamaran. We went scuba diving, but we were in the economic zone and not in Cuba's territorial waters. So we were okay for that. Barefoot vlogger from Miami has do videos about Cuba, Thailand, Vietnam, and Philippines. Okay. Hard Tulip, Cooper, have you ever been to Hawaii and Alaska? No, neither of those 2 places. Love to, but haven't been. Yes, Cooper Obama was not a American citizen born in Africa. Why was he allowed to become a president? Um, he was born in Hawaii. Everybody knows he was born in Hawaii. Yeah, I don't believe that. Simply Social Obama was born in Hawaii. Yeah. Nicholas, I'm not attacking you, but they did actually write out a manifesto on what they were going to do. Please expand the sources that you get the news from. Verified fake birth certificate. Yeah. Okay. Cooper, what casino games were you playing on the ship? I was playing all of them. Didn't have a particular favorite. I was just jumping from one to the other and having a blast. But the one I won the big one on was Huff and Puff, and I got the three buzz saws, and it spun the wheel, and I thought I was hoping for mansions, and it landed on grand, and I was even happier than what I would have been if it landed on mansions. So quite surprised at that. That was great, Coop. Get out the Matrix. So true. Get out the West. Come over here where all the stress and the BS is just gone, guys. It really is. Um, at Nicholas from Robert, you should have read Project 2025. Everything there was right there, and Trump denied he knew anything about it. He lied flat out. Yeah, one side says yes, one side says no. Well, I doubt we'll ever know the truth of that. Nicholas R, to be honest, I don't read the manifesto. Basically, I voted based on anti-woke policies. Both as a businessman, he would make smart decisions. Valletta's World. Have a blessed day, CBD. You got me ready to pack and leave now instead of May of 2026. Come on, come all. You're all welcome, and it'd be great to have you with us here at Valletta. Hard Tulip Cooper, we will never adopt an American Social Security system. Tax the rich. Well, England needs to do something because I'll tell you what, its Social Security system sucks. It does. Half my family's British. I can say that. Your old age pension there won't even pay your damn heating bill in the winter. At least Americans, the Social Security, they're taking $1,800 minimum a month. Think what that would do for the British people. Need to change. One of the biggest liability of America is this: the 4-year presidential term. You really 2.5 years of real work out of them, but I do not this person under that. Okay. Lost me a bit there, but yeah, the American presidential term is 4 years. It can be in office twice for 2 terms. Thanks for clarifying that. You're welcome, Social. I'm glad that we could finally agree on that. Damage, he is fixing America. Well, I hope so. I really do. I think the UK pays India because they colonized them. But why? India is now a thriving economy. Why are they still paying them? Is Italy paying America? Because they colonized America. Christopher Columbus colonized America. So does Italy have to pay America money every year? No. Why should England be paying India? It should be India on their own. They're getting free money for doing absolutely nothing and have an atrocious trade deal with England in return. Robert Nutt says, I'm laughing that they have dragged you into politics. I don't mind talking about politics. That doesn't bother me, never has. I see both sides of the view. That's why I like being independent. I can see both sides and agree with both of you. Thanks again for another informative live stream. Cheers, says Romeo. Great stream, folks. Stay well, everyone. Thank you, Tim. Thought Cooper was a German name, not Anglo. I think Cooper's a British name. I think Cooper derives through history as an iron worker. I believe you were called a Cooper. I think that's where it originally came from. Jay Easy says, lots of speculation. The only thing I know for certain is I will retire in Thailand. Best way to be. And the Simply Social and everybody else on here, Tim P, Nicholas, Romeo, we want you all here in Thailand, whatever your political view is. Simply Social, India is filthy rich. They are. And England pays them billions every year for nothing. They took a whole whack of gold from them in India. Yeah, they paid them for it too. They got paid for it. They didn't just take it. They got paid for it. Simply Social does not make sense unless politicians are paid under the table. A lot of politicians are getting backhanders left, right, and center. You tell me how a politician making $150,000, $200,000 a year, 20 years as a politician is all of a sudden worth over 200 million. Something's going on somewhere. I don't care what side of the fence you're on. Philip Hunt says, cheers, everyone. And Coop, see you all in 9 days living in Jomtien. See you soon, Philip. Hey, Coop, 1.38 per share from Misty this month. And I know I got some of it. I'll tell you more on Monday, though, Jeff. And last comment goes to Jay Easy. Excellent, Philip. So that is all the longest live stream I've ever done. 2 hours and 37 minutes all by myself. Didn't even get to drink half my damn coffee. Look at this. I still got over half my coffee left. Got to get another 2 comments in. Look at this. Hard Tulip. Cooper, someday I want to fly from London to St. John's, Newfoundland. It's just a 5-hour, 20-minute flight, 2,300 miles. I want to see Boston also. Okay. R says, I will never, ever defend Trump. My hate is great, but I will say this. All heads of state can travel, get in and out most countries. Yes, they can. But it's wrong. You know, why should they get privileges that us ordinary men and women can't have? You know, the Bible says all men are created equal. The U.S. Constitution says all men are created equal. So if we're all created equal, should a title, a leader of a country, be able to go to a foreign country that does not allow anybody with a felony conviction, whether he did it or didn't do it? No, especially a royal decree. It's wrong. It's wrong. And yet he's deporting all these people out of America. What about their families? What about their children? Okay, the gang leaders, yes. Those that are hurting Americans, yes, I agree. But he's going against people just because they got a tattoo. Tattoo doesn't make you a gang member. Maybe you were once a gang member, left the gang 10 years ago. Don't want to be affiliated with it. Can't afford to get it removed. And he's deported just for a freaking tattoo? No, it's wrong. It is wrong. I'll call it where it's wrong. You know, where Trump's right, I'll call it right. Where he's wrong, I'll call it wrong. I think the whole legal system needs a complete shakeup, along with the tariffs. You know, I think there should be one immigration law for all. I think that second chances should be allowed. If you committed a crime in the United States, say you were foreign born, say you're born from Europe, you go to America, you commit a crime in your teenage years, you know, you serve your time, you get deported. The deportation order should be for a number of years, give you a chance to redeem yourself in the eyes of society. 10 years, 15, 20 years, whatever, depending on the crime. But there should be a chance to redeem yourself. Nobody's perfect. We've all made mistakes. Nobody can put their hand up, and say, I never made a mistake. I never did anything wrong. I never committed a crime. We all did, especially in our youth. Everybody did. Did you ever get in a fight? Well, that's assault. You just committed a crime. Did you ever go somewhere and forget to pay your bill? Well, that's a crime. It's theft. Everybody deserves a second chance. In our youth, we all made mistakes. I did. I'm not perfect. But it needs to be fixed. I hate seeing families destroyed. I am pro-family 100%. I love Darlene's kids like they're my own. Probably more than my own. Because they're super special kids, and I can't wait to see them next week. But I'm just saying, there's a time for forgiveness. And there's a time to let bygones be bygones. Whichever party's in government, give it up. Change the law so it affects everybody. There'll be no more people crossing the country illegally trying to get under the wall or over the wall because they'll have a second chance. That's what I'm pro for, second chance. And that's why I love Thailand. It gives everybody a second chance. Even if you've been convicted of a felony, as long as 10 years have passed, you have a right to come here. That you can show for 10 years you didn't commit any other crimes. You can come. The world can learn a lot from Thailand. JJM, when will the stock market recover? I'm hoping within the next 2 weeks. That's what I'm hoping. But it's not going to be a fast recovery. It's not going to be a fast V shape. I think it's going to be a slow process. Alfa Romeo, Thailand baby, happiness and stress free. Hard tulip, Trump and that Teller guy are cutting Medicare. Also, lots of vulnerable people will suffer. I hope not. I hope not. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah. Well, we're going to end it all there. Thank you all for coming on. I let the conversation go wherever it wanted to go. And I didn't bash any of you for your opinion because I believe in free speech. I believe everybody has a right to voice their opinion. I have a right to voice mine. People may or may not agree with me. I'm okay with that. And I want you to know I'm okay with you, whatever your opinion is, whatever your political affiliation is, whatever your color your skin is, whatever political party you belong to. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what country you're from, any of that. You're all welcome here at Coopersville in Jomtien in Thailand. So until next time, wherever you are, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. God bless you all. Thank you for this talk and stay tuned.